Welcome back to Gamers 8 and Riyadh Masters in particular, as we are about to close the group stages. That's right, today is the final day of the group stages. We already had our final row of Group A being played, barring tiebreakers, of course. And it's time for Group B to take the wheel here. And we have our series on this stream being TALON and Team Liquid. Very important matchup, in particular for Team Liquid. One win will secure them upper bracket guaranteed, while 2 wins will guarantee them a top 2 finish in Group B, and therefore they get to play the, arbitrary easier matchup versus a team in Group A. And we don't know exactly yet who those are going to be, so but still a lot of the line. 1 win, again, upper bracket. I'm joined by Fear, Lacoste, and Purge here to break this series down. And I want to focus our attention first on TALON, Fear, because this is a team that, of course, they had to skip Bali Major, but they did so well in that Dream League before that, and here again, they are.
Let's not beat around the bush of the Bali Major. None of the teams from C there even made it to the playoffs here already. This is the singular SEA team representing here at Riyadh Masters, and they're in the upper bracket already. So this team is really good. This is the best of the best from Southeast Asia. They've got a star-studded lineup. One would argue they have like the best in role in each position for all of Southeast Asia, just in one team, and they showed up for this tournament.
A lot of pressure on them, Lacoste.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, representing the region, but seems like they don't crumble under pressure, which I really like. Team that has like steady performance at every single tournament that they show up. They look really good. The Drats, I think we got to give credit to Sambi as well. If there are like 2 guys that I'm afraid of in the whole Dota scene, that's Puppy and that's Sambi.
Yeah, understandably so. Sunmi has led a lot of teams to success already, and it seems with TALON, he's doing the exact same. On the other side of TALON today is Team Liquid, a team that also has a lot of expectations behind them. And during the group stages, they looked a little bit hit and miss, but we'll see if towards the end of the group stages they can step it up. First, before we see any of them play, though, we're going to learn a little bit more about one of their star players. It's Zai.
Zai. Zai is a name known to many. Despite only being 25 years old, he has one of the longest careers in the esports scene, and with his extremely consistent results, he is one of the most stable players in the game. Zai has placed top 5 in too many majors to count, and placed top 4 at the International on 5 occasions. Let's take a look at his history. Zai started his career in Heroes and Newer, all the way back in 2011, at the incredible young age of 14. He quickly found success playing with players such as PPD. In 2013, he transitioned to Dota 2, and in 2014, he joined the team Sad Boys with PPD, RTZ, Fear, and Universe as their position 4 player. They instantly found success, and less than a month after forming, they got picked up by Evil Geniuses. Zai's Dota 2 career had gotten off to an incredible start, and would only keep going up from there. Like RTZ, Zai has spent the majority of his career jumping between Evil Geniuses and Team Secret several times, and has achieved top 3 finishes at the International with both teams. More recently, Zai is back to playing offlane on the mostly Swedish Team Liquid, with whom he once again managed a top 3 finish at the International 2022.
Liquid looking extremely good, and we talked about the momentum from the last 5 days. It has definitely continued here today. And on to the throw, and GG!
Despite Team Liquid looking like one of the strongest teams in the world, they were knocked out in the group stage of last year's Riyadh Masters. Can Zai and Team Liquid get revenge this year?
There's a big difference this time around for Zai on Team Liquid, because Purge, after TI 2022, he's had to take the wheel.
Yeah, he has a bit. He's been helping out with drafting and things like that. But I think the bigger story for Team Liquid is how close they are to greatness throughout the entire year. They've got 2nd place in so many tournaments. They had a very disappointing Dream League Season 20. Bali Major didn't go quite as well as they wanted, and they had to play play-ins in this tournament as a result of doing bad in the last Dream League season. So they have a lot to prove here at this tournament. Last
time they had to play the most amount of matches in a tournament. It was from last chance qualifier to top 3 at TI. Fear. It proved to be a good thing that they had to take the long road.
Yeah, for both the teams in the last chance qualifier. Sometimes coming from a position where you play more games, as long as you're winning, right? You're going to have more experience, you're going to get more confidence, you're going to have more momentum. And this is definitely a team that you don't want to give that momentum to. This is a very momentum-based team. If they're doing bad, they do really bad. If they're doing good, they're doing real good.
So where does this momentum need to start, Lacoste? Because is it in the lower bracket? Is it in the groups? Ooh, would you mind holding that thought?
I'll hold that thought
for a little bit, because this countdown means we are very close to starting this matchup. But before every matchup, something needs to happen. Guess what? We need some players on stage.
We're wrapping up Group A, and now we're stepping into a Group B to wrap things up here at Riyadh Masters 2023.
انتهينا من الجروب الأول في رياض ماسترز 2023 بعد المباراة الأخيرة أعزائي المشاهدين، والآن راح نبدأ في الجروب الثاني، نبي نعرف مين بيتأهل للبلاي أوفs.
And we're closing things out in style here on the main stage because we got Talon and Liquid joining us on land, but refresh my memory, Fancy, what happened the last time we saw these two teams face off on LAN?
Last time they faced on LAN, it was in the Lima Major, and honestly the story is great because Team Liquid was able to knock down Talon to the lower bracket and then eliminating them later on. So this is their chance to get their revenge. And is it going to happen here in Riyadh Masters or not? That's the real question. أعزائي المشاهدين، اللي ما كان يعرف الليما ميجر تواجهوا فيه تيم ليكويد ضد تالون، واستطاعوا تيم ليكويد انهم مو بس يطلعونهم للور براكت، لا يطردونهم من البطوله بالكامل، فهذه فرصتهم انهم ينتقموا منهم في هذه المباراه، لانه ما ندري مين اللي بيتاهل منهم للبلاي اوفز.
They've had time off on land, though, for Talon. They were not able to make it to the Bali Major, but they have spent that time very constructively. They are only one of two teams, along with BB Team, to be locked for upper bracket right now in this group.
تالون اللي ما يدري اعزائي المشاهدين ايضا هم اوريدي مصر متاهلين للبلاي اوفز، وما عندهم اي مشكله انهم يجربون لنا شيء جديد في الدرافت حقهم، او ممكن يجربون استراتيجيه معينه ضد ليكويد، لكن لا ننسى انه برضو انت ما تبغى تيم ليكويد يكون موجود في البلاي اوفز، بتحاول قد ما تقدر تاخذ منهم اكبر قدر من الاقيام.
At this point, now it's time for pride on the line, so let's bring out our first team. TALON Esports! Sure, after DPC Tour 3, it seems like these guys cooled off a little bit. They took some time to relax. After that, it was a wake-up call. They came into Dream League looking hot, and here they're continuing that momentum at the group stage of Riyadh.
شفنا أداء منهم عظيم في الدريم ليج في آخر موسم، لو قدروا أنهم أيضا يواجهون فريق ليكويد وما حلفهم الحظ يفوزون، لكن كان عندهم فرصة جدا عظيمة أنهم يثبتون أنفسهم، لكن خصمهم الخصم اللي دائما نشوفهم في المركز الثاني في كل المياجر اللي شاهدناها السنة هذه، بس إذا ما تعرفهم خلينا نتعرف عليهم. فاينالست رياض ماسترز 2022 تيم ليكويد. كل مياجر السنة هذه حصلوا على المركز الثاني فيها، جايين عندهم هدف واحد فقط، انه لازم يكسرون الستريك هذا يحصلون على المركز الاول، لكن طريقهم صعب وحتى الان ما ضمنوا مكانهم في البلاي اوفز، ولازم ياخذون اكبر قدر ممكن من الاقيام ضد فريق تالون.
While this game may not matter much for Talon because they're already locked, it matters immensely for Team Liquid to figure out their trajectory for the rest of this tournament. Lucky for them, though, they're on stage, because yesterday when they faced off against Team Secret on this very stage, it was one-sided, to say the least.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. اللي ما يذكره درب شديد في المقابله بالامس يوم كنا نتكلم مع تيم ليكويد، انسينيا قال لنا انه احنا اذا سوينا نلعب في المسرح احنا جينا بوف جدا قوي ونقدر نفوز اي جيم بسبه الاضواء وبسبه الاجواء اللي موجوده عندنا في المسرح، فالشيء هذا بيكون من صالحهم في المباراه هذه.
Well, let's keep the magic going then. Gentlemen, to your computers, to the game of Dota. As for us, back to the studio.
خلونا نروح للاستوديو. إذا مشاهدين الجيم هذا بيكون آخر جيم عندنا اليوم في المسرح، لازم نشوف أفضل أداء من كل الفريقين، بالتوفيق لهم. على طول مع المعلقين.
Thank you very much, Fancy, and thank you very much, Tsunami, for the great introduction of Talon and Team Liquid. These two teams are no stranger to one another. They actually play quite a bit of games over this year of 2023. They started meeting each other in the group stages in Lima and in the lower bracket finals in the final day of Lima as well. Both of those series went the way of Team Liquid 2-0. Keep in mind, Team Liquid on that lower bracket finals was playing with the stand-in, so that kind of maybe hurt Talon's pride a little bit, but they got their revenge. They got their revenge in the group stages of Dream League Season 20, where Talon was able to 2-0 Team Liquid. We'll find out if this time around Talon can get the better of Team Liquid. Of course, so it means a little bit more for Team Liquid than it does to Talon this series. We'll find out how it plays itself out. All the other matches, by the way, that these two teams played, they were all ties, so we don't really care about that. We care about who wins and who is going to win this one. I haven't even talked about this yet, Lacoste. Who's the favorite going into this one?
Oh, I think that's a difficult one. I could see this one being 1-1 because that's all Team Liquid needs. I think in the first game they're going to go full force, full preparation, and then they can experiment slightly more. But yeah, both of these teams looking really, really hot. And looking at some of these openings that they had, I think you don't want to give ET to Talon and you don't want to give IO to Team Liquid because so far they looked extremely good with it.
All right, keep an eye on those. Rubik will be the first phase ban. It is, of course, the most played hero in the tournament and definitely finds success in the right hands. So the fact that it's first phase banned, maybe not too surprising. Any other heroes, Purge, that you think we'll see in the openings here?
Liquid does have a like and 100% win rate this tournament with 7 picks. Maybe something they used a little bit more at the play-in section of the tournament, but always something they could whip out if they need it. Snapfire has been their latest opening that they're kind of doing consistently, so might be easier for Talon to draft against them if they just remove it in the first phase.
Yeah, definitely. There's going to be quite a few heroes to look out for. You mentioned the Snapfire. There's always Enigma in the pool, especially with Rubik being banned. That makes like a first pick Enigma even that more appetizing here. So for Talon, I definitely foresee potentially Enigma pick here with Rubik out of the pool.
Talon is the type of a team that will open up, like they have a couple of different openers. I do like their Storm Silencer. They have not been beaten yet, and Team Liquid will get, they'll try to split the combo.
You guys want to have a little bit of an update, by the way, for later today, just while we wait for the opening picks to make an appearance here for Talon Liquid. But Group A is fully played out. The result of that is a 3-way tie between 9 Pandas, EG, and PSG LGD. And for everybody at home that wants to catch this 3-way tie, which will be played out in a round-robin best-of-ones, it will be played on the B stream. And local start time for that is 5:30 p.m. and we are in Riyadh. Do your magic with the old time converter.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
In 2 hours and 40 minutes.
I used to watch.
And EG 9 Pandas is the first BO1 that will be played in that one. And of course, this is a 3-way tie for who gets upper bracket and which 2 teams will start in lower bracket. With that being said, let's focus our attention on this match. Talon opening up with the Snapfire. We do have the IO, the Storm, the Bat Band next to that Rubik. And Team Liquid will get themselves the Darkseer, 6th most banned hero in this competition so far. And that's a pretty average win rate, though.
Yeah, definitely a really popular hero, but I think more surprising than anything, Talon, they're block picking the Snapfire away from Liquid. Most of Liquid's wins towards the later end of this tournament have been on the Snapfire first pick. Talon, they haven't first picked this yet from the looks of it, so they're just trying to make sure Liquid doesn't get it by blocking, make sure they don't get the Rubik, making sure they don't end up getting their IO, taking away the Snapfire from them, kind of forcing them to do something a little bit different here. Probably not something that Liquid was prepared to do right away, as they did use a lot of time to just kind of formulate this.
I like when they pair up Darkseer with the killer hero in the lane, so that's going to be Clockwork most likely. Even though it can be played as position 5, I think this is just going to be straight up boxy hero. He really excels at the Clockwork. Some of his initiations throughout a couple of last tournaments have been really on point. And looking at Talon, it's Snapfire plus Faceless Void. We've seen this combo throughout Riyadh Masters time and time again. It looks really good, especially if it's a mid Snapfire. I don't think you should be playing support Snapfire because you're losing a lot on the hero. One of the best scaling, if not like the best scaling overall hero in the game right now when it comes down to what you do with the hero. Magic damage early on, then you get to level 20. If the game drags on, level 25, one of the fiercest late game heroes in the game right now.
And I also really like the Void pick because one of the threats that Darkseer represents is he's just a super hard counter towards a lot of illusion-based or high-stacking heroes, your Terrorblades, things like that. So Faceless Void actually matches up okay against it. He knows his lane already. That's where Darkseer is definitely going. So they might as well pick it here before the other heroes that lane okay against Darkseer get banned out.
And are there no heroes, or potentially there are heroes that Talon should think about banning that are considered a counter towards Faceless Void? Are there any heroes that particularly count towards a counter as Faceless Void?
Yeah, TA, basically, Void doesn't build that many stat items. His armor is not that high, so he can be bursted by these like high physical damage burst heroes. So a hero like TA is pretty solid.
There's going to be a lot of heroes. There's a reason why we don't see too many carries picked in the first phase, unless they're these very stable laning heroes like we talked about the Morph Medusa of last patch. We're still exploring this patch to figure out what those might be. But here he sees his lane matchup, so that's already gone. He's going to lane versus Darkseer, already a great matchup. All he has to worry about now is other bad matchups, which can be saves from the support position, which can be quite annoying, but that's not super popular right now. So I'd look more towards heroes like potentially Puck. As for carry matchups, Naga's definitely one of the worst ones. Morphling's pretty bad for the Faceless Void. Meepo, and then if you really want to get a little bit more creative, I think Alchemist is pretty good as well if you do have a hero like Darkseer. These tanky heroes that can stun and get on top of them or survive the Chronosphere are generally what Void does not like playing against. And plus he's a bit slower too. He takes more time to ramp up, so if there's a fast farming carry, Void takes a little bit of time to get to that critical mass in the late game.
At least you'll have someone to play off with. Snapfire plus Chronosphere combo, always going to be good. Do you need a save? Like, that's my question here. I mean, you talked about saving heroes not being as popular, but we know that Team Liquid, you know, they might bang out some Shadow Demon, some Oracle, just to have something extra. I do like Oracle overall against the Snapfire, just because, like, you can counter her magic damage early on and her physical later. Not the easiest thing to do. Like, it's not you're going to rush in and just do it, but can come in very handy. The other hero that I'm looking for Talon to ban is Bloodseeker, potentially. I feel like this could give Team Liquid like a very low cooldown dependent lineup that they can just run at them. Speaking of running at them, banning out Lycan, this is, as Purge mentioned at the start of the series, they are undefeated yet with this Lycan, and it's also a flex pick. I don't think they would flex it here because they have Darkseer, but they really know how to play with the hero.
Looks like Mickey's played it 3 times in the safe lane with 100%. Well, anybody that's touched it has a win rate advantage, but yeah, Lycan could have potentially worked for sure. I like the Team Liquid bans, the Elder Titan and the Tidehunter. They already have such good team fight on the Talon side that adding more would really just seal the deal.
We've seen the shift from Tidehunter. I think like a month ago, he was super popular in the first phase because some of these lane counters are not as good, especially Ursa. This hero just feels lackluster at the moment because of the Nullifier. You can easily buy it. The hero doesn't get the Blade Dota. Monkey King, Bloodseeker, these 2 heroes tend to get like banned. The Batrider, like also good matchup against Monkey King. There are a lot of good heroes against Monkey in the game that are popular right now. So one of the reasons why we don't see him too often. Some specific teams do like to play it.
And very good at pushing towers with Meteor Hammer. Kind of like guarantees the safe lane tower gets destroyed of your opponents and the mid tower relatively safely without you having to pick summon heroes, which generally are more popular at this tournament. These Enchantresses and Shens and Enigmas to take early towers.
They took a full minute to end up banning Broodmother and picking up Enchantress.
They were taken. I do like what they did. They picked up Enchantress, also potentially a hero that Talon could get on that position 5, which is, it's going to be good, like the spell mechanic against Ion Shell, against Surge, so they take it. Looking at Team Liquid, I see strong lanes already.
Yeah. I think when you play against Talon, that's always goes in the back of your mind. I think that pick was super important for Liquid to show you how they're viewing this game. Talon has always been the type of team that you expect them to go into the ultra late game. They're going to out late game you. Liquid, they're not really trying to battle that right now from what I see. They're instead going to try and push the tempo, where Talon's a little more exploitable, probably in that mid game until it gets to that late game. And Enchantress is a perfect hero to do that. You could have went for, more of a Shadow Demon type of role or something like that. I was wondering if even if they'd bring out a Pudge at some point as like a somewhat pseudo chrono counter. They do like that hero as well, but no, they're going to go for mid game tempo, play really fast. Don't let Talon get to that ultra late game, because you're playing versus Snap and you're playing versus Faces Void. I don't know if they're ending to add an Enigma to that. You're probably not going to win the ultra late game if things are close.
One lane that I really like is Tiny Enigma. I think this lane has a ton of kill potential. Like Tiny was not popular a month ago, but then the Chinese team started to play Tiny plus Enigma combo, mostly extreme gaming, because Blood Grenade, 3-throw, you're really strong. Level 1, level 2 does give you kill threat.
They have really good flex potential too. If they pick Tiny here on Talon, they could flex Enigma to 5, 3, 4. Snapfire could be 5, 4, 2. Tiny could be mid or 4. It would really give them some draft upper hands.
I really like that, especially because if you look at Q as a player, he has been really, really good at these melee 4s.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the melee 4s over time, they fell off a little bit. They're not super popular with the addition of Rubik and Techies. But if Q ever gets onto a melee 4, it feels like that's his comfort zone. That's where he's going to perform at his best.
I remember Lima Major, he was really popping off on that Tiny, so no surprise they picked it here. Now it's time to decide, like, you need to think about this Enigma Tiny in the lane, like what's good. Do you want to go for Bloodseeker, like Monkey? Like, I like Monkey just because you have physical damage against Eidolons who do have magic resistance in the lane, so you can kill them, but not an easy lane for Monkey. Like these displacement tools against, your own Wukong's command, overwhelming magic damage coming out from Snapfire and the Chrono, so they're gonna wait. Yeah.
Does Midnight Pulse still kill the trees?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't seem nice either.
I like the Ember Spirit with all things considered. It's very clear that Talon has better team fight, so you need somebody that can ideally go in first and stop Blink Daggers or initiate it initially. That way they don't grab these like awesome Chronos, awesome Black Hole type things. So if Ember can like jump in with Ashivas later in the game, do slights on the back line, and find good angles for Team Liquid to have a better team fight start, they have a better chance of winning the fights.
Oh yeah, I mean, they banned the Deuce there. I was going to say, like, taking the Ember is nice for their lineup, but you already see your offlane matchup, and they get 2 more bans here, so 2 of potentially the best carries you could have got there. I think Medusa was probably the #1 pick there, is going to get banned out for sure. So it's going to be at a heavy price. They do take this Ember Spirit, and it's going to be really important for Nisha to do well in the laning stage. And if history shows anything, Makoto has kind of had Nisha's number at a lot of these tournaments when a lot of other players couldn't even match up to Nisha. Makoto has always done well, and if he plays Snap versus Ember mid, he's already going to have an advantage there. So hopefully Nisha can have a better game here, and yeah, I'm a little worried here for Mikkei's pick. The hero pool for the carries is dwindling now, and he has a hard lane matchup to go against already as it is. Tiny Enigma, it's a tough lane.
And then there's a lot of boxes that it needs ticking as well.
5 seconds remaining.
I mean, they might do like the gyro. It's not ideal, but it's a good against Enigma in lane.
We saw Gyro's win. Obviously, the one earlier today had an IO pairing. That was really nice. We've also seen Gyro's win without the IO. It's the Morphling next to the Medusa that Talon does not want to face. It seems that Team Liquid, they're banning out supports. I mean, we don't know exactly what's happening there in the sense that Snap could be flex, Enigma could be flex, Tiny could be flex.
I think it's just straightforward for Talon at the moment.
Okay.
Faceless Void plus 5 that they're missing, and Tiny Enigma combo, and then Snapfire on the mid lane. Just because of the sheer matchup, Snapfire tends to do well against most of the melee heroes, especially Ember Spirit. You don't possess a kill threat. You also build into Road of Atos, so that feels really good. Just have some extra lockdown. You can also get away from the cogs with the cookie. I don't know. I'm feeling Talon's draft already. I feel like Team Liquid, like what they need to do with this type of a draft, because it's punishable if they misuse their black holes, Snapfire Kisses, Chronosphere, if they don't get much out of it. But Team Liquid, they're really good at fighting all the time, so there's gonna be like a 2-minute window where they can just try to punish Talon. But Talon, I feel like looking at their heroes, they have really strong lanes. as well. I mean, Team Liquid, the way they opened.
Well, that's definitely not a position 5 Timber
No.
saw. So something needs to shift, and most likely that's going to be the snap. I mean, Enigma could be support.
Most likely Enigma is going to be support now. I think it'll be the POS 5 Enigma.
They decide based on the last pick as well. Maybe.
That could be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it makes it extra difficult for Mickey, because now he has to lane against maybe a tiny Enigma, maybe a Timber tiny. Oh, they still go for the Monkey King.
It's just Monkey King at this point for me, because if you look at all their heroes, Monkey can lane versus Enigma, it can lane versus the Timbersaw as well. If you get the Agnums at some point, it is an answer to the Chronosphere. They don't have the best save. Fits their tempo as far as like they need to play fast, because they're definitely out late gamed here. So Team Liquid, they're in a position where they just have to play this game incredibly fast, probably win off the laning stage, ball up, make sure that Talon can't get to the point where they're comfortable getting their teamfight ultimates off, be able to disrupt that with pickoffs. But if they can't do that, Talon in the late game here, they have by far superior late game. This Monkey, if he's in any type of detriment and doesn't have a high net worth, he's not going to carry this game.
And they swap things around. It's going to be Snapfire played from the off lane, I believe. So Jab's going to be playing it into Monkey matchup. They did not want to have Timber there. So looking at all 3 lanes, seems like things are going to go really well for Talon. I'm liking how they picked this Timbersaw as their last pick and still kept the flex open. And in the end, I feel like Team Liquid got outmaneuvered, I would say.
I would agree with that, but I feel like Team Liquid definitely has the potential to get ganks in lanes, like between the Enchantress and the Clockwork. If they take Twin Gates, go to the opposite lane, get some kills here and there. They don't have very good heroes at fighting without committing ultimates. So if you kind of spread them out a little bit, pick them off, get a gold advantage, then it becomes like Ember zipping around the map, forcing kills, spreading out. They're going to do a lot of poking and retreating to find the right fights on Team Liquid side.
In the past, I've heard it said that even though it might seem the opposite, Monkey is a counter towards Timber as well, despite how the tree works. Why is that the case, Fear? Why is Monkey a semi-Timber counter?
Only in the laning stage, I would say. It's just because he's one of the heroes that can just continuously trade with him if you get the Jingo stacks, be able to sustain. Most heroes get kicked out because you can't sustain versus the hero.
Well, with that in mind, doesn't that mean that now that the Timber is not going to be against the Monkey, it's bad news for Team Liquid?
I hate to say it, but this is pretty hard out draft in my opinion. Liquid, they have a very narrow, it's a very good window to win the game, but it's a very short one. Within the first 20 minutes, they need a sizable gold lead.
Whew. Well, let's find out if they can do that. It seems to me like Team Liquid's got their work cut out for them. Talon, they seem pretty comfortable. They're comfortably in the upper bracket and they're comfortable in this draft of this game 1. Let's find out how it's going to play out. We're heading over to a commentary duo. It is Cap and SVG.
One win and you're in if you're Team Liquid when it comes to the upper bracket, but it seems that they are already off to a disadvantage in this series. Not only did they lose to Talon in the last time they met up against each other in Dream League in a 2-0 during the group stage, but now it seems they are pretty hard out-drafted in this game 1. Or at least that's what our panel thinks. Avery, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, if you believe Fear. Nobody believes this guy. So, it probably means Liquid are going to crush this game.
Yeah, he's a bit of a clown. He doesn't put off a very serious analyst aura on the
I don't think I've ever seen Fear make a serious statement. I've only known him for 8 years, so.
Yeah, he's
been a while.
He's quite the jokester.
No. We'll see. I have some faith here. I think
30 seconds to battle.
I do think this Monkey King pick is interesting because it's one of those picks that's, okay, it looks great on paper, but the more I think about it, it kind of puts Liquid in a position where I do feel like they want to run this game over with the Ench and the Clockwork, building a lot of momentum off lanes and abusing the fact that you have an Enigma support here, which can be a bit slow and hard to combat them on the map.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if Liquid's better route would have just been to pick some push hero last. Like some, I'm not saying lone druid, but something like that, right? And just all like push.
Carry, something like that.
The issue I see for Liquid is I think the lanes are going to go fine. I think they're going to get some farm on the Ember and the Darkseer. It's just the Monkey is not going to accelerate the Roshans or the tower push that fast compared to something else. And then I wonder if this game just gets stalled out. Because as we've seen from Talon the entire year, if there's one thing this team can do, it is stall that mid game.
Yeah.
And push it to late. The 50, 60-minute period was where they're extremely comfortable. So that's my concern. I'm actually not too concerned for the early game for Liquid. Even if they don't build momentum, I think they still have some decent team fight between the Clock Darkseer running around the map and the shell targets. It's just, you're kind of, I don't know when the Monkey's exactly supposed to come online and drive the game home. Like, is it going and fighting with Shell and some early like Echo Saber build and just joining all the fights? Do you have enough damage to commit for Roshan then? Are you pushing high ground to 25 minutes with some Ench creep and Darkseer auras? Are you willing to go 40 or 50 minutes with the Monkey Scale, which he has some okay matchups? At the same time, if you chrono the Monkey, there's no save. It's an interesting pick for me. I want to see how Liquid pan out. I think the itemization from mid-game will tell us a lot about their idea with the hero, and perhaps a lot of this game might just come down to what Nisha can get done. This is a matchup that's not easy for the Ember. However, I've seen him pull out of these Ember matchups before, and his hero is pivotal to the momentum that Liquid want to build in this game.
Makoto has been one of the few players who's been able to stand toe-to-toe against Nisha in the past, so it is an opportunity for Nisha to reestablish his dominance as a mid laner against his opponents. But yeah, it's also like the Monkey King pick against a Timbersaw, but not laning it into each other, right? Because it is a mid Timbersaw.
It does feel bad. I think that matchup is more playable for Timber than it used to be. Still, it kind of throws a wrench in what Liquid want to do. And in theory, these lanes are going to be pretty passive for Talon early on. Not a bad thing for them, though. You're going to be able to deny some extra creeps with Eidolons as long as you don't feed kills to this Clock Darkseer. In theory, 23 is fine down here and should be cooking in no time soon. And it's a pretty good time dilation game. There's a reason Talon opted for this Void early on. Again, it fits their late game scale play style. It's a nice lane versus the Darkseer, and in the team fights, you kind of just at some point crush him with the time dilation chrono that Darkseer is not amazingly answering unless the auras are super fast. And you were talking about this mid matchup between Makoto and Nisha. Cap, do you know who the #1 KDA player at this event is right now?
I thought it was right at this moment. I know earlier it was GPK.
Good one. It is Makoto. It's that man sitting right there, staring into the cam with the true gaze of a killer. He's sitting at a pretty 8.5 right now. That is insane.
That is really good. Oh, nice vacuum cogs combination here. Now, 23 sits around, tanks some of the battery assaults before time walking away, just to make sure that Ollie doesn't die there. But a decent amount of damage in a situation where they were pulling the lane into the hard camp. So getting kills wasn't necessarily the objective there. It was kicking them away from those neutrals and the creeps that were dying.
There's so many low heroes on all these lanes, especially mid. This is a game of chicken right here. Fairy Fires for both heroes as well as stick charges, just trying to skirt around the edge. You have to watch these stick charges, particularly on this Darkseer clock lane. They're going to try and get to the level 3 and probably kill the Enigma with an Eidolon timeout. I think that's the best early window here for the Clock Darkseer to try and build some momentum. And if you're Insania on the other side, this lane is a hard lane to leave the Monkey King on, so I wonder how much he's going to feel confident to roam early on the Enchantress. I mean, there is mid-roam threat here, right, with how low Makoto is getting.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think you can do it this early. The other option is you go through the gate gank and try and kill the Enigma Void bottom with an Ench rotation when the lane pushes in deep, which it is right now. Again, the pressure top, though, it's such a strong lane in the Snapfire Tiny. I don't know if you can leave the Monkey here.
This is a funny situation. The Tango may have just made the difference here for Nisha. He doesn't go for the kill, goes for the Water Rune, and Boxy's going to TP in and take the other one away from Makoto. He's going to be left with an empty bottle until a support can rotate for him.
The wave was shoving in for him, though, and he did get that range XP, so he's going to go heal, come back level 5. This isn't the worst case scenario for him. He was winning the lane slightly as well.
I think if Nisha, don't you turn on your Flame Guard and just shove it into the tower as quick as possible?
I don't think you can shove it that fast here. It's only level 2. Ideally, yes. I just don't know if Nisha feels confident in doing that. I think he's just going to take what he can get here. Nice heads-up play by Boxy to deny that, though. Gain some momentum back for the Ember, which, again, is very important for Liquid's game plan here. Honestly, they're doing pretty well. They didn't find a lot of these early kills. I think those are hard to find, but they're finding the net worth and the levels that they want on the heroes they want them on, which is good enough here to power this lineup into like the next 10 minutes. Very important to
toss back should be leading to a death here as Mickey, maybe not even the toss required, throws the tree at him. Oh, nice trickery dodge. That was just enough to keep him alive. Close call. Anybody has a healing salve? Going to be gifted a mango as well, so he'll be back in fighting shape pretty quickly there. Close call there. First blood still out there on the table for somebody to take.
This is like a classic Talon game, right? Pick a bunch of late game and then just create a brick wall. They love this type of gameplay right now. Yeah, and this is what happens when Insania leaves the lane. He showed mid instantly. When that Enchantress shows mid, they're on to the Monkey King, and that is the problem with the Ench roam right now for Liquid. Can you find those opportunities? Right now, you're not finding them. They're going to try for the rundown bottom. Again, just blocked off from these kill attempts. Talon are doing a good job keeping their heroes high resources, buying early sticks, fairy fires, negating the kill pressure. It's going to remove a lot of potential XP that Liquid want on this aggressive support duo. There is the Enchantress rotation.
Pushing him upwards here. An interesting move. Liquid, not sure which direction they're going for. All right, they've settled on Ollie. 23 will throw out a time dilation, but finally, we're going to see a first blood. Goes to box.
This is the best move I think Insania can make. It is the 5-minute catapult. They have double range creep, shove it in. Even though the Void lives and steals your Lotus, little sad about that, you are getting first blood on the Clockwork, which is going to be fast boots for Boxy. Very nice, and you're getting a lot of tower damage like down here. More importantly, you didn't get that conversion on the catapult for a lot of that. You'll convert it now, it just gets delayed. So that was a really nice timing gank from Insania. He also did lose the monkey on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I'm watching the mini-map right now. It looks like he's just been playing for pulls, just playing out of the lane almost entirely. Q, level 3. So he's going to be stuck in these cogs, and looks like he's going to be run down, intercepted as he tried to match the Trine lane, but just gets picked apart before he could get there.
The Talon's starting to bleed a little bit. I think this is expected. You're going to give up
rotation coming back from Makoto, though.
Time dilation hurts.
He's got a Lotus, he's got a big magic wand. Can he survive long enough? He doesn't even try and pop it.
Nice little rotation. Makoto starting to cook here. Even though he had to go to base, he makes the rune work, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, what is the damage that's going to take down this Timber in the mid-game here?
Yeah,
that's
it
a
is
concern.
Very, I think your best bet is actually Insania, like scaling up nicely. That pure damage is pretty rough for Timbersaw sometimes, but otherwise it's very limited direct burst damage.
You mean the Enchantress with no impetus points?
Yes, that Enchantress who's now leveled impetus.
Aha, okay. Yeah, they level 1 impetus with a 6-second cooldown.
Yeah, Insania heard me. He's like, right, okay, I got to deal with the Timbersaw at some point. I'm going to level up impetus now.
I don't think they have tools to deal with Timber unless they're willing to bring all 3 cores together.
Yeah, no,
which is a big committal. Especially if Makoto can get to this Vanguard without anything crazy happening, which, I mean, Nisha's doing a good job chipping him down.
Yeah, he is.
Limit his resources and will produce a haste rune for the Ember. A very juicy rune when you can shell this guy up and just throw him in there. No purges on Talon's side. That's one of the downsides of their lineup this game. Darkseer spells are pretty free. Not a lot to deal with the Surge and the Ion Shell here.
Trying to surprise Nisha with an avalanche and then a bunch of burst damage all at once. It feels like a very low chance that this is going to actually happen.
They're just going to smoke, try and go bottom. They've read the play correct.
23's in trouble right now.
Are they going to get here in time? 23 has to stall this out.
Yeah, he might be forced to use a Chronosphere. Doesn't even get that chance because Mickey came through the portal. One step ahead of Talon. Now this smoke gank is going to be a little bit awkward. Without the Chronosphere, this Mortimer Kisses may not have an opportunity to be any good. Insania's going to be targeted here. They do manage to get jabs away from some of this assault, but Nisha's now joining in the mix with this haste rune. Gets the chains on the 2 of them, and jabs. No room to work to get off his ultimate. This rotation completely blown apart by Liquid.
Even some illusion body blocks to go with it.
Keep going underneath the tower, still keeping it out with the Wukong's command. 23 TPing back into this one. The burst damage isn't quite enough. Q, too low of a level to threaten the monkey gank, and he walks away from Makoto. Makoto's gonna die, but they will manage to pick up Mickey. Bare minimum, that's all you can ask for here from 23 to get 1 kill off a Chronosphere and then die.
These shells adding up, man, the long fights with the Darkseer, and that is that triple core early combination. That is earlier than I thought Liquid were going to force it. It's giving me some flashbacks to some TI9 OG Dota with that Omni Knight Ember monkey lineup.
Yeah.
I think that's how you have to run this, right? Just jam your 3 cores into the fights really early here and abuse the fact that Talon's big ults are not online. Even if they are, what are they doing for you here? I mean, the most Ollie does in this fight is convert a neutral creep and kill Zai's courier. That's your Enigma impact right now. And now they're going to find another rune. This is definitely going to telegraph how Liquid want to win this game.
Stop the Timber Chain. Now the battery assault's going to stop Makoto from getting a second Timber Chain very far.
Oh, the Hadouken.
You'll die to Insania's Satyr Tormentor. Oh, knocking down the Monkey King. Still had a bit of shield rune to work with here. Toss them together. Only if they had a black hole, it would be perfect. Mickey trying to stay alive with this lifesteal. Trying to dodge the kisses. Trickery even. but it's not quite enough. Just didn't have the boundless strike up, so he does die, trading out Timbersaw for the Monkey King. Finally, Jabs manages to put those kisses to work.
That is a necessary kill for Talon. They lost Makoto twice here off the Vanguard timing for this Timbersaw. They lost 23 twice bottom. You had to get a return somewhere here, and it is Jab showing up with that completed Atos rush on the offlane Snapfire. Beautiful spellcasting from them, honestly. Like you said, no black hole, still get enough damage to kill the monkey through that shield room. And now it's on Liquid to just run it back. This is going to be a game where they cannot decelerate the pressure. You have to abuse the fact that every time Talon have a spell on cooldown, you're just running at them, creating the pressure and forcing mistakes.
Hookshot off the mark. Avalanche covers them, but
Another
a stun from
stomp.
behind with the Centaur. Nice toss away there. Putting Zai out of commission, but Nisha's gonna keep going for it. It will collect
damage.
one, maybe two. The Ion Shell on the Centaur is doing so much work there. Nisha, once again, finding an opportunity.
It's going to create
4-10.
some tier 1 tower pressure as well. This is kind of the fights you're looking for. You're not dragging everybody from Talon into it. At least you're finding some levels for your supports. And if you can get this tier 1 mid, that's really going to open up the map. That's what you're looking for to break the triangle. Rally is one of the ways to help you do that. Nice little troll creep.
Yeah, with the two offlaners rotating from this high ground point with double Ion Shell put on them. If anybody comes close to this tower, they're going to gun for him.
Nice little frog.
And Q is going to be caught inside this with the Ion Shell going to work with the battery salt as well. Fortunately, a cookie gets him out of those cogs, and now 23's in a good position for a Chronosphere. Only
he
catching the
doesn't do
one,
that
though.
much.
That's not that great. They go for Boxy instead. The mech goes off a bit too late to be able to save the Clockwork. Now, Mickey joining in on this, though, doesn't have too many trees to get on top of Talon here.
Didn't have kisses for that fight. It just came off cooldown. Liquid get the response they want out of Talon, which is bringing everybody there, getting a big ult on cooldown. They're not finding the kills, though, which feels a little bad, especially with all the net worth that they found on Zai. This is kind of your early Darkseer aura timing, right? You got this early Vanguard mech. He's pretty much the strongest hero on the map. Almost unkillable in the fight unless you commit all these ults on top of him. It's still go time. There is not going to be a not go time for Liquid here. Just keep shelling up the Clockwork and the Ember and hook on in. Especially if Talon push a tower. This is not an objective you want to give up here, Liquid. This is a good fight for you if you can get people here.
Got the members behind it, though, to protect their Snapfire. Boxy, give it a surge. They're still thinking about it.
This is so dangerous for Talon.
Hit it with a stun. Q, gonna be the target. Kiss is raining in, though. That's gonna be dangerous, and they managed to keep Q alive while killing Boxy. But now Nisha's here, and Nisha has been the biggest playmaker for Liquid in this. Oh, he missed the slap. That is not quite good enough. Nisha still has an opportunity, though, to kill because he can't really go anywhere. Ultimately, he didn't want to put himself with the Enigma. He's getting them both killed.
And they're bringing in the Void just to help battle back against Liquid with some time dilation. It is a time committal. Once again, Liquid, they're not finding the full like team fight, team wipe route that they're looking for off these early fights, right? They're trading Boxy again, which he's also going Orchid, by the way. Very unconventional Clockwork item, though one if you get it up quickly could give him the extra lockdown and presence they need in these fights to find the big core kills, particularly on the Faceless Void.
Yeah, it's an item that's really sick. When there have been periods of time where Clockwork was an offlaner, Orchid was like a really nice, you know, because it works with a single target focus, but usually comes in too late for this 4-position clock. But
yeah, those 2 deaths hurt him, right?
Yeah.
And so now this Orchid's going to get delayed. If it gets delayed to a point where the defensive items start coming out for Talon, then it's not going to be that effective. So again, the itemization here for Liquid is all about routing them in this early game. That's why these little skirmishes are really important. Taking the fights around your tower is extra important, so you maintain more space than Talon. Do not want to let them get ahead.
Yeah, you want to get the chase down. Oh, Malphite stops him from being able to... Oh, he got the cogs after the cookie. So that's still good. Jab's very dead. And Mickey, once again, they find this opening and they really just want to keep it going. With Mickey joining in and Nisha making the rotation as well, Liquid bringing all 5 heroes. This is one of those times they finally do get a bit of a breakaway fight that should result in another objective.
This is more of what they're looking for. 2 kills into a tier 1 tower, into invading Talon's areas, and your cooldowns are really low. You have another hook shot up at 30. Just a really good find by Boxy. This is what's going to accelerate Liquid game, and this is what Talon don't have a good answer to right now. unless you're willing to bring everybody back with ults, you're just out in no man's land. These towers are going to be up for a long time now, as I don't think you can commit to a push if you're Talon. And early Roshan from Liquid, as we see on the mini here. I was debating if they would have the damage. Yeah, I guess the monkey's enough to just commit on this with the ion shells and a creep.
Riyadh trying to get the chains done here to finish off Nisha. Don't even need to use... Well, I guess they didn't have Black Hole. When did he use Black Hole?
It's just still on cooldown from when he used it to kill Boxy top.
Yeah, I guess it is a really long cooldown to level 1.
So the longest level 1 cooldown in the game.
You're welcome. Thanks, Purge. Q. Opportunity to set up here off the smoke. Talon, no, they need to punch back at Liquid, not just get run over all the time.
Oh, he has no midnight pulse.
Kill outside would be nice. The kisses, oh no, are they going to let him get away with this one? The Surge getting him some distance, but fortunately Q was there with the toss. Still not enough though. Jabs, tries for it, loses sight of him, spots him with the Rod of Atos, hits him with the cookie, and a final shot will bring him down. But if they lose Makoto for this, was it really worth it? Chops down the tree. Makoto has an opportunity to get himself some distance away. Meanwhile, the Black Hole, it's back up and put on the Nisha. They get a second kill out of this one. What a great fight for Talon.
Can they even look for more? I don't think they have the catch, but they got everything they wanted out of that, right? The Darkseer that seemed invincible in this game drops to the Jabs continuation. And then you throw everything on Makoto, and he somehow lives out of all of that with a Timber Chain, and you still find Nisha with a Black Hole. He didn't even have to commit the Chrono here. Sick plays all around by Talon to be winning these fights at this point in the game. You gotta remember, this is Liquid's Aegis period as well. They did this really fast, which means they want Mickey in these fights to be super active with the Monkey. It's all a balancing act. That time, he got cut down. We'll find Ale on the backside as, I mean, what can you do? That is going to be an inevitability this game. It's not a question of will Boxy find somebody, it's how many will he find.
Right.
And how fast can he get this Orchid up, closing in on it. This is how Talon stay in these games, right? Just very clutch spell casting and a very good read of where and when to take the fights and getting out of them too. They know when to engage and disengage, and it makes getting these full team fight wipes early on very difficult. They just find big core kills, and that keeps them in the game and stalls it out. They toggle the cooldowns on these big ultimates. There's usually always one up. We haven't seen a fight where everything got used by them, so there's always some threat to create for this Ember Spirit if he goes in deep. A second death for Nisha. He does find a double damage, still looking for the BKB.
It is very dangerous when you are playing a lineup like this where you constantly have to be running into the enemy, forcing action, and they have such big team fight spells. You force that action the wrong way, you get some sort of, three-man chronosphere into kisses, you're gonna get close to wiped. And then all of a sudden you're down in net worth in a lineup that's supposed to be taking the tempo game. It's a rough tightrope to be walking here for Liquid.
It is.
Very tight one.
And usually the two ways teams have encountered it in the past is you just have better scale, so therefore you force them into you.
Yeah.
And then the ults become harder to use, or you have a push hero, so you waste the ults and you push them down.
Avalanche, toss back. Oh, the Orchid! It's going to be able to stop the toss. Nisha has an opportunity to get away with a slight. Now the back end, they do manage to catch Q in the river.
This is double
so
damage.
One trade-off, and Nisha very likely to pick up Ollie as well, or
they're going to try and burst him.
They're going to try and get multiple heroes with this double damage. They managed to get it with the Chronosphere. They burst down Nisha, but now your big team fight spells are gone, and Liquid are trying to catch for more, though the Orchid doesn't allow them to get the kill on Jabs, and the Faceless Void has slipped away into the night.
Once again, Talon, they find this big core kill, stall up the fight, waste so much of Liquid's time. They just can't convert on this team fight win. They're going to look for 23 post-fight bottom. This is a super good read of where he is.
Yeah, they know that 23 is going to be greedy and farm his way backwards here, and the Orchid's going to do a good amount of work, and it's just enough burst damage.
That's soul burn. This Orchid's already paid off for Boxy. Really nice itemization here. Talon going to try and turn, stall this up again.
This is an Aegis hero, so get him and get out, reset a little bit. They're going to use the Orchid onto the Timbersaw. Do they really have the burst damage for that? I don't think so. Meanwhile, Mickey's going to be tossed back underneath the tier 2 tower. They're still going for Makoto here. A slam stopping the Timber Chain out. Rod of Atos keeping him at bay. The mech keeping these heroes barely alive. Box is the first one down. Ollie blinking in with a two-man black hole. Nobody here to save it. And Q can combo off of it too. Three-man avalanche. Not enough damage though. Mickey, too much lifesteal. Nisha helps them out, and they will stay alive through it all. The team fight spells are no longer enough for Talon.
Small things make a huge difference there. The toss on the Centaur, not on the hero. The Talon were trying to get the hero disjointed super deep under that tier 2, did not latch. And then that avalanche at the black hole was a little too early there from Q. It gave some time for Mickey to lifesteal. Maybe he lives anyway, but you still got to play for the exact timings here. This is that fight where if Mickey gets dragged under that tower there, it might look a bit different, right?
Yeah.
And maybe Mikoto lives another second. He almost kills them all with this wand pop into the ult.
Also, I do call the question, why did Mikoto go this direction in the first place? They got that Aegis kill, right?
He got orchided by Boxy on the cog.
Well, yeah, that's because he didn't back up to the tier 2, right? Remember they killed the Monkey King? He moved left here instead of going up to his tier 2 and playing under
He was
that
just trying
area.
to space the fight. It ended up not working out, though. I agree. Not the worst fight for Talon, but Liquid definitely got some value out of that Aegis, especially for Mickey as he jumps to #1 here. This Monkey King is really strong if he can get his ult and some boundless strikes off in the fight. That's where that toss back's always going to be a big question. Like, does Q just find the Monkey at the start of the fight? Does he find the Ember, toss him into a black hole? Looks like that LGD lineup from earlier, where displacement is still very strong. And this
You may have missed your window because now BKB is done for the Monkey King. So you toss him back in, but if he's magic immune, I mean,
there's not much to go through
him.
it. It's pretty much late game Faceless Void and Snapfire, and the late game Snapfire is less reliable here because it's a 3, not a 2.
Right.
And the late game Faceless Void, I mean, he does a lot of magic damage for a long time. It's pretty rare you just kill someone with only the physical until 4 or 5 slots. Are finding some decent farm here for Talon. Not the hugest lead for Liquid. They'll look towards second Roche. They're going to try and keep the momentum with this Clock Orchid. So far, the Orchid has been amazing. Versus the Faceless Void and the Timber, who are both trying to get to the BKB. So you don't want to let them get to the defensive BKBs here, and then all of a sudden you lose that lockdown capability. Shard for Q.
That is not the shard you wanted, certainly. An initiation onto Timbersaw, certainly not getting anything out of that. If anything, you're just positioning yourself for Q to get a good toss back, a 23 CC opportunity to pounce. It's a Chronosphere. The Advocates is on top of that one. Mickey's going to run the interception, though. He has the Wukong's man out with the backing wall. That's beautiful stuff right there. 23, a big heal off of the Time Walk, but he's on the wrong side of things now. Q comes back in, trying to finish off Zai. Does manage to get that 1 kill. A second Time Walk away, and I think 23 is out. He's good.
Yeah, his time dilation's really problematic for Liquid. They don't want to commit the BKBs. Nisha does not want to commit his. That's what that type of team fight can look like, though, with the vacuum inside the Wukong just drags you through the monkeys. Mikoto did not escape his fate there. He'll trade out some cores as Liquid's pulling ahead slightly here.
Yeah, but
that was a
for a
non-black
lineup
hole
that needs
fight.
to be ahead, right? It feels like they're not growing the lead that much.
I mean, this is decent. This is a decent momentum. You got a lot of farm also on your Ench and your Clock here, so Insania is going to pick up that scale with the Dragonlance going into the Hurricane Pike here with the early Solar Crest above the Monkey. That's the good news for Liquid, right? That Insania is continuing to find a lot of farm off these fights. He's not dying 2-1 and 10.
Because he's the counter to the Timbersaw,
Exactly,
right? Like I pointed out earlier.
I mean, he's also a big problem for the Enigma in the fights. If you ever get a creep on him, or maybe you can just kill him when he's black holing with impetus shots.
Yeah.
You have a blink on Ollie. He's just going blink BKB here. You have to respect the black hole capability.
Hook shot off the mark, Boxy.
Themselves.
Trying to respond to the aggression. Q's going to go for that toss back. You know he's going to. And Boxy's going to die for this one, but so is Q. Backing back in, maybe setting up for more fights here with the Orchid still ticking out on jabs. Nisha jumping away, chainsing up 23 before he bounces out, forcing the use of the BKB. Because otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get that Time Walk heal, so.
Man, that was very close to Ollie just black holing him.
Yeah.
I think he just wasn't sure exactly where Mickey was at this point in the fight. Like, you should see him top here, but you're not always going to see everything. Because in theory, he actually had a free black hole towards the end. I think Orchid, Vacuum, and Hookshot all got used.
That's true,
Like here, you might have just black holed him and he's gone. And I think he was. That's just lucky for Nisha that he gets out of there. Or that maybe Mickey was off the map. Once you have BKB, that's a different story.
That it maybe is some of the downside of having this sort of lineup when you say, you know, you always want one of these big team fight spells up. Ollie, there's a pressure here not to throw away your big team fight spells ever.
It does force different positioning from Liquid, just having the black hole up and this Blink Enigma hiding somewhere, because they don't have a huge amount of cancel for it. The hook shot's probably going to be used first. You might want to lead or follow up with a Boundless Strike. After that, right, what is it, Vacuum? Well, you also want to be using Vacuum in the middle of the fight to get a wall or hold heroes in the Wukong.
Right.
It could put Liquid in a weird position if they just don't see where this Enigma is. And like I said, once he gets to BKB, it's pretty much free unless you're holding hook shot at that point or you're fighting in the Wukong. The upside is here, the Enigma will probably just die in the Wukong because he's a 5 Enigma.
Yeah, yeah. BKB done for the Timber Saw. So the Orchid, I do think it's paid off for Boxy. I think it's done a lot of work. And it'll continue to do some work against some of the supports as well, and maybe even jabs. But its effectiveness is going to be lessened a bit as the BKBs come out for the cores.
I guess the argument is if you didn't get this Orchid, you get the small payoff, what would have he had instead? And it's probably some other Aura or Glimmer Cape or something, which I don't think would have given them as good a chance to open up this game.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, downsides now as these BKBs come out. See if Liquid can maybe force the BKBs and then take a fight after those are gone. That's another route you can go here. It just gets scary when this game is getting stalled out like this, right? Like, you kind of feel, okay, this is going to go late here. You're not going to push them down. You didn't get some crazy early game momentum that's enough to just roll the game over. And suddenly Talon are kind of just playing for the Roshan here, which is up. They have vision control on it. They have big ults up. This is where this game just becomes scary. You really have to execute these team fights well. And you're doing it against a team that is very comfortable going late. And very comfortable playing these big team fight lineups.
I mean, they certainly get enough practice in Southeast Asia.
That is absolutely true.
The region with the longest average games, and it's not even close. Rockets are going to be constantly funneling in. Nisha, got to be careful with these CPs in. Q might jump for you. 23 is actually going to jump in, pop it a BKB, and immediately goes for Mickey with the Chronosphere. They have the damage. It's coming in. Mickey gets off the BKB. The Wukong's command. The hookshot goes out. Mickey, he'll stay alive off the lifesteal. A bit boundless strike to keep him up. Makoto may die here as he took me away. He got him dead.
Insania with a double kill as well. This Enchantress putting in some damage work. He was number 2 for Liquid there.
I think Mickey, he got off the BKB before the Chronosphere. Is that what happened? It felt like the damage was pretty poor.
No, he did not get it off before. It's just a lot of the spells got interrupted here for Talon. Enigma died to Enchantress plus a Troll Creep hitting him with skeletons. The Snapfire ult did not commit long enough there. Jabs couldn't get in close enough. And there was no chain stun afterwards. Really nice hook shot interrupt by Boxy as well to make sure those Jingu stacks get built. That's a tough go. I mean, that's one of those goes where if you kill the monkey in Chrono, you might win the game. However, the monkey did not die in Chrono, and now it's a question of, did you need to force it that aggressively?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that was a very early BKB pop.
Or could they have just jumped earlier, right? I mean, it was very risky from Liquid to TP onto that outpost like that, right? What happens if he just goes and Chronos up Nisha, and then Mickey's like, do I complete this TP into a Chronosphere? Nice toss back. That is going to be on the agents here, but if they can take it away, nice vacuum. Oh, Cookie stopping the Wukong's command from going out. Bound the strike goes out and does manage to help finish up Ollie. They back away as the glyph is used, but are they going to stay away? Yeah, they will. Creep wave gets killed by the Chakram. They say, okay, that's enough of that.
Going high ground is difficult in this game if the Tiny is alive.
Yeah, you want the Aghanim Scepter, right? Yes. That way you could set up shop on their high ground, get the statues setting up.
And that is next for Mickey here. If you can get it during this agent period, you're going to be really happy.
Just a perfect timing there on a time walk of a hook shot he didn't know was coming.
And that all finishes Mjolnir. So the damage is getting there. If he gets to level 20 talent with the extra attack speed, then maybe that Monkey Chrono looks a bit more reliable for you, with being able to throw everything into it.
Yeah, again, the damage looked kind of lackluster on Mickey earlier.
Pretty underwhelming. It's a high armor hero. You got to remember he also has a Greaves and Pipe behind him, and a Solar Crest. There's a lot that Liquid can throw on the Monkey King here when you try and all in him. It's a tough target to go on. You kind of need both your ults in the Black Hole and the Chrono, I think. That's a lot to ask for.
How do you feel about the comeback of Solar Crest? I feel like we're seeing a lot more of these teams pick this item up where it was abandoned for the longest time.
It's a little better than it used to be. It feels okay. And these lineups where you have one guy to throw it on, I think it feels the best, which is basically the case for Liquid. I don't think you're throwing the Solar Crest on anybody outside of the Monkey King. And it's still a good defense item if you get gone on. It's still going to provide you with the base armor evasion if you're the first target. So on these heroes like Enchantress, where you're either the first point of contact or buffing somebody else, it's a pretty efficient item.
Okay.
Like, it basically is never bad, right?
Sure.
And an item that's never bad is awesome. You're welcome.
That's another Sun Tzu SVG quote.
Well, all I'm saying is if you buy an item that's never bad, then at least you can't get flamed for it.
Now that is definitely true.
You know, like what if Boxy had bought this Orchid and by the time he got it, they all had BKBs. You're getting flamed for that Orchid, you know?
For sure.
That's a volatile item. Solar Crest, I've never seen a game in my life where you bought Solar Crest and your carrier was like, why'd you buy this?
I don't know. I feel like maybe 4 or 5 months ago, somebody would have said that.
Well, that's
just because nobody else was picking.
It was straight trash.
Aghanim Scepter now done for the Darkseer, so a little bit of extra control. Another illusion for the Faceless Void.
And
We're
Aghanim
missing control, that's for sure.
For the Monkey. As he'll disassemble Echo for the second time here.
What do you think about these lineups? This is another thing that's kind of occurred to me. And I see a lot of these lineups sometimes where I feel like they're lacking in disables, but it seems like in some ways the game plan is just to buy disables. That was a close one.
Need a little extra length there, Boxy.
Yeah, sometimes size does matter.
Killed.
Oh! This is a big pickup because all the heroes of Liquid are on top!
He is completely alone here, and he cannot BKB TP versus lineup. You're gonna have to fight it.
They're gonna black hole him. Now he's gonna come back with no BKB. Uh-oh!
Mickey,
you're gonna die. Ooh, that is gonna hurt Liquid a lot.
How did they see him there? Did they see him jump in the trees before?
Yeah, they have the high ground ward farther up, so they might have seen him making his way down here somewhere.
Yeah, they might have just guessed that he was somewhere in those trees. Because that was pretty decisive by Ollie. Like, in theory, you don't have vision on the Monkey here, and there is no vision mechanism. Just a very clutch play here. That is the power of Enigma sometimes.
I wonder if he would have lived if he used BKB on second life instead.
Oh,
catch!
No matter what.
23. Time walk, and nothing to go through it now that the Ags is used from Zai.
These BKBs are getting Talon out of danger and once again stalling this game a bit. That was an Aegis that could have potentially gone high ground with your double Ags timing as well. Now you're going to have to wait for the next one. Again, I don't think there's any way you go high ground in this game as Liquid without a Roshan to back it up. Which means more time for Talon to cruise into the late game here. Another shard, it'll be Jabs's. Not a bad one.
Yeah, certainly not. And level 20, almost here for 23. It's funny how many of these carries are like super dependent on their level 20 talent specifically.
I think it's good for the game though. Like that these talents are something you play for and extra timing and not something that you're like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
I just pick up some 100 HP and make them decisive. Make them broken as hell. I want to see more of it. Imagine every hero in Dota had talents like Snapfire. Enchantress gains 3 hero multi-shot and a 400% crit at level 20.
She just gets like Sproink.
Yeah, Sproink is a level 15 talent.
Now we're talking.
Exactly, see. I think that's the future of Dota. You transition more of these spells to talents as well. What if Black Hole was a level 10 talent? And we gave Enigma another spell? Like Black Hole.
I will say, specifically if you start doing that, then you're giving heroes too many spells. Because Dota players, I mean, there's a reason they're playing Dota and not StarCraft, you know?
What are you talking? You're arguing that Dota should be easier? If you want to play easy Dota, there's something called League of Legends. You can go play that game and enjoy your Archon 80.
I'm just saying, there's a reason why not every hero is Invoker, you know?
Well,
Dota players like having 4 spells,
there's some
maybe
artistic
5.
bounce, some game bounce, and having more straightforward heroes like Pudge, you hook somebody in and you eat them, you know? And heroes like Invoker look snazzier. Thank you for the Power Cog Gold. I was actually wondering about that.
We're all wondering, truly.
But I have nothing with increasing the complexity of the game.
Yeah, I'm down. I think there's definitely some more things we can do with the. In general, I really like the idea of Talon sets and having a skill tree that branches out. And I think we could probably expand upon that. Have 2 different abilities that you could choose from.
What about a second Roshan pit? I mean, if anything, I think the new Frontiers update didn't add enough things to Dota. That was my one.
True, true.
We need more 1 armor buffs. Okay, that is a significant rune disadvantage here.
Every single time, man. Dire side.
Sure.
Like this,
Though,
especially
in this
Dire
game,
winning.
It's pretty understandable, right? Liquid has been invading Talon side of the map. Talon has been the defender for a while. This game has slowed down a bit, which I would normally say favors the Southeast Asian team.
But Liquid has gotten themselves a pretty big network lead, so...
A lot of it is on the Enchantress specifically here for Insania as he finishes the Hex.
In a game like this...
It's a big item.
How much does 1,000 net worth lead mean in win percent? Is it like 1-to-1? 1,000 gold equals an extra 1%?
70 minutes, that's weak, by the way. 70 minutes.
That's true.
That's nothing. I think we had a 70-minute pause at Bali.
We did have that long of a pause.
that was a bit mean. I'm just saying.
That was a 70-minute game and a 70-minute pause.
I'm going to get fired one day. It's inevitable. But
That's
it'll
okay.
be fun until then.
Hey, I've already got my next co-caster lined up, so don't worry about it.
I don't doubt that. Go through them like player cards here. Liquid are gearing up for the next Roshan, and that is a pretty good fight for them because you can just stick Mickey in the pit with the Wukong, this satanic done for the Monkey King as he's looking for his level 25 here. You get that extra ring. Ooh, that fight is going to feel good for Liquid, right? The one thing you have to think about is 2 things I should say. Does the Monkey get caught before the BKB Satanic Wukong go out?
Right, yeah.
Or does he get tossed out of the Wukong? That is a big factor of this game.
Sure,
If you can find that, like, you're not going to necessarily BKB instantly as you're using that, depending on how the stuns are going out. So these are things Talon can look for. They still have huge ults that can punish Liquid around the pit. This game's coming a lot down to vision, who jumps who, those clockwork rockets. Better be lining up. They're going to send some Eidolons in. And of course the Hex on Insania. Does he get it?
There's so much vision they're walking into here. It's going to be very hard for this smoke to catch him out. They've got flares. They've got, I mean, you saw the little eyeball there just getting taken away from Liquid. They know the Talon is there, smoked up.
BKB on Ollie. They have
jump forward. Oh, the boundless strike hit him right as he blinked in. Oh, frame perfect for Mickey. They do manage to get a Chronosphere on the back line on 2 heroes. No kisses to follow it up because they've already jumped onto the opposing black
damage.
line. They do have a black hole that's pretty decent, but no heroes into it. Meanwhile, the Impetuses are raining down on 23. Time walks his way backwards there to be able to keep it going. He's now in the middle of the frame, but Nisha's going to hunt him down underneath the trees. They spot him, a Cogs push away. That'll stop the TP out, and Talon could not put the pieces together in time, and maybe it's all up a botched initiation and a lot of luck going the way of Liquid.
I don't know if that was botched. There was just 2 initiations and they weren't together. You had Black Hole on 2 cores and Chrono on 2 effective cores, and the Enchantress and the Darkseer, they're just not together. So you have no damage in the Black Hole and you don't have anything to pump into the Chrono. It ends up just spreading all the damage around, and Liquid reap the rewards as the second you don't finish these heroes off, they're going to turn really hard. 23 just doesn't do enough on his own. And neither does Midnight Pulse here, as this is a satanic monkey. Mickey, he says, good try. Now it's my turn.
Jab's just chilling out there like, I don't know what to use the kisses on, guys.
Yeah, Jabs was super confused. He didn't know which ult to try and commit into. They will find Insania. That's a big pickoff to slow down this push that was maybe coming with the Aegis on Mickey here.
And he got it because he is level 20, so his little shredder is doing some
He is also scaling into the physical Snapfire here.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning. Like, he went for Force and Pipe to help these early fights. Now he just got Quiver plus a Silver Edge and that level 20 Talon. It is something worth noting. Like, even if you're behind in gold going into this late game from Talon, I don't think it necessarily means your chances of winning a team fight are lower here, because 1, you have the big ults, but 2, you have some crazy late game talents between these cores, right?
Yeah.
The extra attack speed in Chrono, the backtrack duration on the 20 and 25. You have Snapfire's 20 and 25 that I don't even need to talk about. And Timbersaw, you get the double Chakram. So all of these Talon cores, you let them get to the level 25 here. That is a lot of effective gold getting put back in damage, and they're all damage related, right? It's gonna skew a lot of these matchups. So right now, if you're Liquid, you are peaking. You have your full slotted monkey with a refresher shard in backpack for the revive. He hits his level 25. You have 2 massive rings, 2 satanics, 2 BKBs, 2 lives, and 3 cores behind you.
That's a lot of numbers.
It's time to end the game before you end up in Southeast Asian 60-minute territory. I'm telling you,
Nobody
it's
wants
not
to
fun.
be there.
You don't want to be there. Even the C teams don't want to be there. Now is the time to Boundless strike your way to a Game 1 win here. It's in Liquid's driver's seat. Ag's clock is also going to give Liquid a lot more vision on these jumps.
Yeah.
And very annoying for some of these blink heroes that Talon have, and that Enigma and the Tiny that want to find these initiations, find the opening. You get hit by these rocket flares. Not so easy. Clutch blink from Q. Can he get out?
He cannot. So, I don't think they really need that much to go high ground. A pickoff like that might just be enough, because that is a huge part of the defense here for Talon, right? It's a toss back.
He has no buy. He bought back for that earlier fight, so Liquid know this Tiny is out for 60. No chance of him ending this engagement. Yeah, you're going to surge Mickey up this high ground. He has Butterfly on top of everything. These statues hurt, man. I don't even think you can black hole him if he's on statues.
Yeah, he'll probably kill you too quickly.
You do have a Hex out on Makoto. Might be their best chance at bursting the Monkey King. You're just going to have to do it twice, and that is the problem right now. With no toss back, how do you create a favorable situation here? 23 says there is none. He is just pushing bottom. No interest in coming back to this. They're going to let the racks go.
I think he's right about that.
The only play. You got to wait for your Tiny to be up. It's just a question of how much Liquid get done in the meantime.
Well, it's looking like they're going to go for 2 lanes. There is a reset of the glyph off the tier 3 dying, so we'll take a bit. Vacuum back in. A chance at maybe some kills. Nisha jumping around, jumps out. That was very smooth.
I mean, he has Ag, Shard, and a Timeless Relic here, so his Remnants hurt. He's got a lot of them. This is late game Ember territory.
And he's working towards Octarine next, so
yeah. They're powering up really fast here on the side of Liquid. Continuing to build the net worth lead. Faceless Void Illusions cutting mid. 23 is finding some gold. He's tanky. I just still worry about his damage. The build he's gone for. Scotty BKB, 3,000 HP, 200 base damage. I mean, what are you doing in this chrono? At least Aegis is only up to a minute left here. Sacrifice the Centaur. No mercy.
Okay, jumping in, there's the toss back. Straight to Makoto. Half health already, about to be bursted. He's got what a vacuum though, all 5 inside the wall. I turn around, Chronosphere out, but this is not gonna be good enough. They're gonna try and fight through Mickey, but immediately gets the heal up off the Satanic, and now the huge Wukong's command will push them all the way back to the fountain. Yeah, try jumping into that 23. It's not gonna feel good.
That chrono was hella confusing. I think he ended up chronoing all his own team off the vacuum. And then you have the black hole on top of it.
And then the black hole on top of it, yeah, chaining your AoE
so
disables.
Damn weird for Talon off a single vacuum from Zai. He uses those ults against them almost. And now you're stuck defending the last lane with no black hole, no chronosphere, no hook shot.
A couple of missed abilities there, tosses them together, does some nice damage with the chakrams. But what about Nisha? He's running through completely unimpeded in these fights.
I mean, what about Insania, man? He's got a goddamn Hyperstone.
Another Wukong's command will push Talon away from the final lane of barracks. That's going to be Mega Creeps without a contest.
I don't know if that's a fight that should have gone that bad for Talon. Liquid just forced the advantage, catch him off guard. Another vacuum will not catch too many this time. Can Talon defend their base? 30k down, you're against Megas here. You don't have ultimates for 50 seconds on the chrono.
Oh, the damage! There's those impetuses. They do manage to get a cookie up to the high ground, though. 23, popping his BKB, trying to go for anybody here. Even just the simple 5 position would be a nice kill.
I think he's just killing your throne. He does not give a damn about anything.
He's laying it into it with the statues and his hero. The kisses start coming down. Mickey No Satanic yet for another 5 seconds, while 23 and Zai are having a little battle of their own. 23 jukes him with the time walk backwards, but you can't keep going backwards. You gotta move forwards, otherwise your throne is gonna go down. And it's looking like they just cannot stop this. It is going to be Team Liquid, who already secured themselves into the upper bracket off of some of the other match results, but have ultra secured it now with getting a victory in Game 1 over Talon.
Yeah, they will not sneak their way into the upper bracket. They will claim an upper bracket slot against a top team here at the Riyadh Masters. And Talon getting pushed down a notch in a game that they might have felt very comfortable scaling even from a behind position. They just couldn't sync up those team fights. I go back to the Roche fight top. Chrono and Black Hole on 4 different heroes. None of them die. Something went wrong in that team fight. And this base defense, you're stacking the Chrono and the Black Hole on everybody who's vacuumed in. I think Liquid just played these fights really well. They put Talon in a position where you have to make these clutch decisions, which is what you want to do with these big ulti lineups, and just kind of jam heroes into them, stack everybody on top of each other, and then even when these Chronos go down, you're catching your own team. Even when these Black Holes go down, maybe you're inside a Wukong, right? It puts you in a very awkward spot. Talon feeling a little bit of the pressure in this game as Liquid ramped it up. It did not start out too fast, but they eventually got there. And man, Mickey impressed me with this Monkey King. I thought the Monkey was maybe going to cause some more issues in terms of how early can you do the Roshan. They did it real damn early. How easy can you go high ground? Well, with Aegis and Ags, not a problem. He ends that game 11-3 and 17.
I think my favorite rotation, and it was one of my favorite heroes at the start of this patch, was him going through the portal early. I think it's one of the unique factors of Monkey King is how efficiently he can go through the portal and show up for that gank that they had on 23 Savage. And that kind of start is what led them to a Game 1 victory over Talon.
And with a one-game victory, and that's all they needed to secure themselves in the upper bracket. Now they will want to want more, because that would mean that they come top 2 in Group B here at Riyadh Masters. But this was already a great first game. I'm joined by Purge, Lacoste, and Fear. And at the end of the draft, Fear, you said that Team Liquid had a small but very strong window to win this game as long as they were ahead at a certain point. And they were exactly that.
Yeah, their early game was flawless for the most part. We did see all these rotations happening. The bottom lane, Mickey, he took the portal, went bottom, killed the Void. Then all of a sudden, you just have like 5 heroes playing in the bot lane. Zai connected with Nisha a bunch. Each rotate into the mid lane. Liquid, they're 5-manning everywhere, and I was a little afraid that maybe they wouldn't be able to ball up as fast as they did. It was around 10 to 11 minutes in the game. There are already 5 heroes on every single tower. They used their advantage really well. And Talon, they tried to get back into it, and they almost did, but the teamfight execution unfortunately just wasn't there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Team Liquid, I think the big one are 2 supports on their side. Sure, like all the cores played really well. There were some nice vacuum walls coming out from Zai, but I think this Orchid pickup from Boxy changed how the game was played. Like pre-BKB, he managed to get a lot of those silences, threaten a kill on Faceless Void, and also a bit of a sloppy execution from Talon in the end. I feel like with the right execution, this is a very winnable game from them, because you have a team fight, you're going for the high ground, Tiny toss back onto tier 4 towers into Hex from Mikoto. Chronosphere, Black Hole, there's a lot of team fight potential, it's just the execution was not there.
Yeah, I really agree about the Orchid. It's an item that really doesn't get bought very often. Usually it used to be this, like, you're a mid-hero, you're ganking, you buy an Orchid thing, where people have to protect against it with a Yules or a BKB, but those defensive items are more delayed now because nobody's really buying those offensive things. They're getting it from their skills, so him bringing that as a support at that 18-minute timer, he had like a full Orchid when Tiny was just getting Blink Dagger, so that really helped put pressure on their opponents. And I think the other thing is that the Enigma 5 is much harder to Black Hole with. If it's like a 3, you've got enough net worth where it feels like you can get more out of it, maybe get more kills, but it was harder to get value out of it from Ollie this game.
Now, there were a lot of fights going the way of Team Liquid's favor, especially at the start, but there was one in particular that we want to analyze with our STC play analysis, and it was a fight towards, I guess, towards the end of the game. We had here a nice fight around Roshan there.
Yep, this was the fight where if Talon could have somehow won this fight, they may have clawed their way back and getting to that point of having the better late game here. But unfortunately, they're trying to make things happen here. They want to make the comeback, but Liquid, this is going to be the fight where Mickey, he does end up dying towards the end there, survives, ends up killing Mikoto here as well, and they just completely turn this team fight, take Roshan, now Liquid back in the driver's seat after the one little slip up, I'd say, they had this game, and since then, they didn't look back.
No, I do want to talk also about Talon's draft was incredibly flexible to the very end, where they came out with the Timbersaw overall last. Because do you feel like that might have, I don't know, they tried to
experiment too much.
Yeah.
I agree. I think they had some of the flexes open, which is always a good thing in the draft, especially if you don't have the last pick. But I feel if you played Tiny Enigma as your offlane duo, it's good against Monkey King. Like, sure, you know, Monkey might get some of the kills on the Eidolons, but overall the lane setup, and Team Liquid, they had a similar read on the game because they banned both supports in the last banning phase, so they thought the lanes are gonna look like that, and maybe the Snapfire would have been like more efficient. Snapfire 3, it can work because you're like building into the same thing, it's just like you're doing it slowly.
Yeah, it didn't really have the oomph that Talon needed in this first game, but it's only game 1. Adjustment after a game like that should be relatively easy for Talon.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, the win was very needed for Team Liquid, so they're going to be very happy with this. I mean, Talon is already guaranteed upper brackets. They're just kind of determining seeding here. They'd rather pick their opponent, but yeah, I like their draft as a whole. I just feel like Team Liquid played a little bit better personally.
Well, we are in the middle of a series, and you know, it's hard work. Hard work for the players, for us as well.
Absolutely.
You know, for our commentary team, for everybody here. Everybody here is working real hard to make a great show, and I'm absolutely sure Jenkins is working really hard as well. Right?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here at the Riyadh Masters player jacuzzi with Metrum from Team Entity. Coach of Team Entity. How you doing today?
Would be better if we still play the tournament, but at least now I can have an interview in jacuzzi.
I called you Metpoom for I don't know how many years now, and I was corrected yesterday. Why have you never corrected me on the real pronunciation of your name?
I don't know, I feel like 95% of people don't pronounce it correct, so it would be annoying, right, to come to every single person and tell, hey dude, it's actually not that way. So yeah.
That makes sense. In terms of you know, how the tournament's going on so far, are there any clear, you know, strongest teams that Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here at the Riyadh Masters player jacuzzi with Metrum from Team Entity. Coach of Team Entity. How you doing today?
Would be better if we still play the tournament, but at least now I can have an interview in jacuzzi.
I called you Metpoom for I don't know how many years now, and I was corrected yesterday. Why have you never corrected me on the real pronunciation of your name?
I don't know, I feel like 95% of people don't pronounce it correct, so it would be annoying, right, to come to every single person and tell, hey dude, it's actually not that way. So yeah.
That makes sense. In terms of you know, how the tournament's going on so far, are there any clear, you know, strongest teams that you guys felt when you were playing against them?
And Aster are doing pretty great. I think actually this tournament, Chinese teams doing much better than this entire year. So maybe Aster will even win this tournament. Would be fun, I guess, for viewers. That's something gonna change. I don't know, gaming Liquid every time, in finals. Maybe this time it would be different.
So let's say a zombie apocalypse started, and we're all in this hotel right here. Which team do you think would reign supreme as the kind of dominant team out of all the teams that are here?
Once again, zombie apocalypse and okay. Not sure if I have an answer to this question here.
It could be Shopify because they have Fly and he's really strong.
And sounds good. Maybe actually gaming, maybe just because they're vegan. Maybe it helps them to fight zombies. Who knows?
Maybe the zombies don't try to eat them because they don't have any meat on their bones because it's all vegetables.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Jacuzzi interview with Metpoom. It's been a great time. Thank you for joining me in this Jacuzzi, and back to you, Shiva, on the panel.
Yeah, thank you very much, because I met him. Yeah, Jacuzzi interviews. We have it all here at Riyadh Masters. We also have some results of the Group B series going on right now. Only Shopify, Rebellion, and Team Master are still in that first game of the 2-game series, but all the other ones have 1 game done, and that means we know more about where teams are going to end up, because we have guaranteed our top 4 seeds. Our upper bracket seeds are now set. It's BB Team, Talon, Aster, and Liquid. Now, in which order that's going to be, we don't know exactly. That still depends on the games being played, but all of them are secured upper bracket. And then we have the most exciting one / scary one, Purge, has to be Tundra winning from Secret, and therefore maybe Tundra still in, maybe big tiebreaker, the biggest tiebreaker of them all.
That would be pretty crazy. So that puts Tundra at 4 and 10, and Secret's at 5 and 8. So yeah, that's a 3-way tie with Shopify and TSM. I don't know how their match has been going, but TSM's playing BB Team. Good luck on that one.
Tundra can still end at a 5 and 9.
They could.
Yeah.
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 And so can Secret.
Because TSM, they lost the first game, and they're 4 and 9. Tundra's already 4 and 9 because they won their first game against Team Secret. Yeah. So that spices things up in the Group B.
Very spicy things in Group B. Spicy things here also for our matchup that we're watching right now as we see strategies being discussed. Talon and Team Liquid, game number 2. And it's a very common thing for players that after they've retired playing, they try talent workout for a little bit, and then they go into coaching. So here in preparation for your potentially next role, you are the coach of Talon.
Okay. Basically, if I was coaching Talon, it would be pretty simple if you look at that game. Draft was fine. Execution was not. But you don't just say that straight up. You just go to them like, we played what we could. I think our draft was fine. Point out a couple of things in the replay that where maybe we black holed on top of a chronosphere, not so good. And the big thing was we split the team fights too much. Like there was one fight where 23 Savage, like he's over there chrono trying to kill some Darkseer. On the back lane there's a double chrono on 2 cores. They need to play together. That's pretty much all this came down to. Play together more, calm down. It's a big stage. You have big team fight ultimates, but more importantly, just play as a team.
Do you think if you were a coach, would you be the one to be the one that is like, I'm doing the full draft and you guys just have to play what I say?
If I were to coach?
Yeah.
Probably. I think I won't get the thrill of just being an analyst. Okay. I'd want, the power, the ego of like, I won because my draft,
So basically what you're saying that is after this game, you would have said, guys, I did great.
Yeah, the coach did great. The players, unfortunately, not so much.
Let's find out if they can step it up in game number 2. Of course, both teams now guaranteed upper bracket, but being at the top of the group makes a difference because that will decide who you are gonna face from the other group, from Group A. And to be honest, it's looking pretty scary because it looks like you could be choosing between Gaming Gladiators and you could be left facing Game Gladiators in a playoff bracket because it depends on who the other person picks. It's a scary, scary world out there for sure. And we are in game 2. Because game 2, we saw, of course, Team Liquid do very well in that first game. Do you feel like they will do any big change-ups in this second game?
Not necessarily. I think Team Liquid overall is a team that, some of the players, when they were a different org, they struggled with closing out the games. I don't see that problem anymore. They tend to close out some of the earlier games in the tournament. Yesterday's games against Team Secret, beating them in 18 minutes. So they know how to utilize it. They know how to capitalize on the extra farm that they have. And this one, going for the high ground wasn't as easy, but getting Aghanim Scepter on at Monkey King, I think that's the right item choice to try to siege the high ground. Because you're playing into Tiny, the toss back into Hex combo is always going to be potent. So trying to figure out how to close out the game. Team Liquid, they are overall a very experienced team and they know how to do it.
So they've switched to sides and draft order, but so far the bans are exactly the same. Talon's first ban technically last time was Rubik, so if no Rubik ban here, then we see a little change up in the openings for sure.
We might just see the Snapfire again. straight up last time Talon picked it. I think it was more of a steal pick because they didn't run it on just one game pre this series. On Mikoto, he did win that game, but Snapfire seems to be like the hero of the tournament, I would say, on top of Rubik. But you know, we see some like good and bad Rubik performances. Every single time I see Snapfire, I'm like, wow, this hero is doing so much.
Yeah, it seems like Team Liquid's doesn't open Brood if they're first pick, but Snapfire's right.
Yeah, 3 of their last 4 games, they've picked up the Snapfire as their overall first pick. No, not overall, 2 of it's overall, but as their first possible pick. They've won all those games, they picked it. Nisha has played it every single time.
Get that Rubik. It's one of the better heroes against Snapfire when it comes down to stealing spells, because Mortimer Kiss is always easy to steal. You get Scatter Blast, it's ton of damage. Like as a Rubik, if you're not focused in a team fight where you have Scatter Blast, you can single-handedly win a fight.
Yep. Do we want the Enigma again is the question. That I'm not sure, because he seemed not super comfortable on Enigma. It is a big stage, as I mentioned, and I think when you do play these initiators / big team fighters, you're playing on the stage. It can be a little more difficult, but I think you also need your experience with it. Was that just a bad, one of the, you know, not his worst game, but not a great game from Ollie? Was it a one-off, or will that affect them in not wanting to pick it more in the future?
Yeah, you also got to consider Rubik still in the pool.
Yeah.
It is Temper Assassin that they go for. First thing, you saw the
See
win-loss rate.
Not great.
It's like a 33% win rate or something like that, Pers. That can't be good.
Yeah, it's good the teams don't see that while they're drafting themselves, because they'd be like, wait, was that a bad idea? Did we mess up?
Uh-oh.
But they've done something similar like this before, and this isn't just like some random TA pick. They're just super confident that this Snapfire is going to go into the mid lane, and Mikoto, he'll end up playing that TA. And currently, his win rate's not really bad. It's 66%, 2-1, not very bad. So I think this is something that potentially you could exploit if you're Liquid, and just put the Snap on support. I know it's better as a core right now, but I think Talon are kind of showing their hand really early, as TA is not a hero that you can put on support. Snap, you potentially could.
I kind of like this as a pairing with it, though, because it kind of guarantees that even if TA's up against some like super high armor agility hero later on, that as long as ET's still alive in the fight, she'll be fine as a carry. So it kind of protects you a little bit here.
Also picking up Elder Titan in the first phase, something that they've done before, but it does get banned a lot when you are playing against Talon for a good reason. Oli really shines on the hero, and also one of the better counter initiators in the game. Plus, also you can find Snapfire if she's using Mortimer's Kisses, find her in the backline, stop that relatively easily. You're also gonna have like Shard from Templar Assassin, just that like almost instant silence coming up from the trap, so that's gonna be always good to lock down onto a target and kill it. And also, these like heroes are gonna get deleted. This is ET Aura we're talking about, Meld Deso, removing all of your base armor, and when you go into minus armor, it hurts a lot.
Well, as you know, they don't need armor anyways.
And that's a good one.
What was it, 100% win rate?
Yeah, 7 games. They've played it carry, they've played it offlane, I believe.
Quite the flex pick, and a successful flex pick in this case then for Team Liquid. They get the chance to ban out against it as well. They start with banning out the Timber Saw, and we get Undying banned out as well on the side of Talon. With the Undying, I mean, there's still a couple of those usual suspects that I don't know if we should still keep in mind with the Enigma, the Rubik. Any of that still worrisome there, Fear, or are we past the point where we should concern ourselves with those?
They're still fine, but I think a lot of the value of heroes like Enigma and Rubik, well, Rubik specifically, is he's just a very stable hero to pick really early on when you don't want to reveal too much about your draft. He sometimes can get better, but that's only if the spells in the game get better too. And the later the pick you have for like supports specifically, you get a bit of a wider hero pool to choose from when you often don't get that luxury because you're often first in phase. But when you are Liquid and you pick 2 cores right away, that means you're going to go into more some of these niche picks that will be just more tailored for just this specific game.
5 seconds
That makes
remaining.
sense.
Team Liquid, they love to ban Naga Siren whenever they play Lycan for a good reason. Like, you get netted, you're also a hero that doesn't buy a BKB. Sure, you can get like Manta, but there's also Song of the Siren that you hate to play into, using your shapeshift time to do absolutely nothing, relatively easy to counter. Also, if it's an off-lane Lycan, Naga tends to do really well because she can kill the wolves. Not overall a bad matchup, so, and also banning out Tide. So just judging by the bans, I feel like they are trying to camouflage this Lycan as their offlaner, but this really seems like, okay, we're going to be playing... never mind, this is like Lycan safe lane, most likely.
And if it is, it's kind of good against ET anyways, because almost all the armor that he gets is just going to be plus armor, so ET is not going to remove it very much. He can build to itemize against the TA effectively, some like AC halberd thing.
Manta too, I think, is really big for the refraction.
That's a good idea, yeah.
He's a universal hero, so it doesn't really help. And then one of the biggest things when you look about playing against TA, illusion heroes, of course, because TA does a lot of physical damage, and most illusion heroes like Naga, PL, Terrorblade, they're very high armor. Of course, we talked about TV being good against that. Lycan is a hero that is an illusion hero if you play from carry. He can buy the Manta, and getting through those refraction charges is very imperative if you want to kill this hero. But it could also be played as an offlaner, and they could still sneak in later on an illusion hero if they really want to. Even a Medusa, some type of hero like that doesn't really care about armor, could be really good in this game.
I'm still down for some more team fight on side of Talon. I think getting Rubik still gonna be good, and then maybe look into Mars later on, because you can stop, again, Snapfire, you trap her inside the arena, same goes for Lycan. Just overall good pick. I know that they pick it on jabs during the Dream League, but let's see. So it's going to be Rubik for now. We talked about how good of a Rubik game it is, especially since you play into Snapfire.
The only thing I'm a little scared is I feel like Rubik against Lycan isn't always the safest. Like, depending on whether you've used telekinesis yet, he's going to run you down pretty much.
Sure.
So it's definitely a little vulnerable there. And I believe we identified earlier today that despite the good-looking win-loss record, a ton of those wins come from Quest Esports. Talon is like the other team that wins decent with Rubik. So if I'm seeing any other team than those two pick Rubik, I'm sad for them. Don't have as much faith.
Well, we'll get it in the hands of Talon today, so we're in for a good one. I also like that Talon give the respect to the support duo of Team Liquid, of course, Clockwork and Enchantress banned out. We talked after game one what an impact they had with those two, and of course we don't know yet where Snapfire is going to go. The flex potential is still very much open, but it does potentially limit them a little bit, and they actually go for the techies, which has been hit quite hard since his most recent success in Pro Dota, but quite hard with the ban hammer, as they say. Do we still feel as strongly about Techies, Fear? Is this still a hero to be worried about if you're Talon?
10 seconds.
Still strong. It's just not over the top strong anymore, where you just pick it and you auto win your lane for the most part, right? So it is something that can help maybe trade against the ET a little bit. You do have that extra nuke damage. Kind of fits what they want to do. They pick their chorus right away, so you can assume they're probably not going to have the best lane matchups. So you need to pick supports that are really strong that can compensate for that.
And the other thing that's nice about it is that it just does a lot of damage from a support position. So, and you have pretty good jump, so you don't need items to contribute a lot of damage. You just have to play near your allies. So him plus Snapfire, Techies plus Snapfire together, huge damage amplification. He can protect himself against a TA as well just by pressing his one skill point ability for a huge amount of time. So there's a lot of good things, and he has high armor too. So it's actually a pretty good game for Techies at this pick position.
TALON Esports.
Oh, a Crystal Maiden. Well, this has not been a hero that has got the greatest success, but I'm a fan. Insania has.
Yeah.
Probably was one of the only ones. Why does it fit here?
It also gives them like a kill threat in the lane. I know, like, if this is going to be a safe play Lycan, most likely going to be in the end. You can get to trade kills with this type of a lane. If it's like some passive position 5, you don't, but also one of the heroes, like, depending whether they want to put this Elder Titan, most likely safe lane, but I feel...
They took the Dusa.
Dusa.
So almost certainly they'll swap Lycan to offlane now and pick some Diffusal Blade Bind carry, I assume. Because right now they don't have the best solutions against Dusa. The magic amp that Techies does, the minus armor that Lycan does, Dusa doesn't care about that. Neither of them is going to accelerate, so I feel like they need some carry that's going to be able to counter her.
Either that, or if they want to go maybe some like Underlord route, because they have all physical, So Underlord, Aura, Crimson Guard, Buyer against Templar Assassin, Medusa. The question is, will you have enough damage to deal with Medusa and Templar Assassin later on? I'm still down for Mars on side of Talon. I feel like just this off lane is super strong. Rubik plus Mars gives you a lot of kill threat and also being able to shut down Lycan in most of these fights.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just wondering, because are we now assuming that Lycan is safe lane or off lane?
I wouldn't make any assumptions quite yet until the bans are done, because there's going to be some good options for both off lane and safe lane. Like, I imagine Anti-Mage will probably get banned out here. I would like to see Anti-Mage as an off laner, not even as a carry, if they do go this route.
I like
but
that idea.
that's probably like the only off laner that I think would be really good, since Darkseer is already banned here. As far as carries go, it does look like this is a hero that McKay does play, but could be good this game because they don't have much jump, and that would be like a sniper. Sniper could be good this game against a TA.
I was looking, I think Drow Ranger is the other option as well.
It could be good too, yeah.
Because they don't have any gap closers.
Yeah, I think those are all good ideas. On the Talon side, maybe Tide Hunter?
Banned.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and with that in mind, I mean, we're looking for a Jabs hero, and I personally like the tanky offlaners, but we know that Jabs doesn't always like those.
Yeah. He gets to see his matchup too, right?
That's
so
true.
whatever Liquid's gonna expose whether this Lycan is gonna be an offlaner or a carry here, and then when Jab knows whether he's laning versus a Lycan or whatever this pick may be here, that'll influence his decision quite a lot, because he is not one of those players that is going to stick to a small hero pool.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe Brew, Underlord, or sorry, Underlord or Timber then.
This is Void.
Okay. So that's their carry. Can buy Diffusal Blade later, doesn't typically fit in, but it could. Lots of lockdown, they don't have good jump, so, and they don't have great disable either, so he should be able to get out of danger most times he gets ganked.
Yeah, they need to lock him down. This is a really good Faceless Void game overall, because they have like some of the smaller saves like Cookies, some Glimmer Capes later on from Techies and Crystal Maiden. And as Purge said, I'm down for some Manta-style Diffusal Blade build, Midas in between as a first item. Because you're playing into Templar Assassin, you're playing into Medusa. I feel like this build is just way superior.
Yeah, for Talon, yeah, Tide's gone. I was thinking Beastmaster, maybe. Is that one still in the pool?
Yep, it is.
So it could be something that's good. A little on the greedy side.
Could be Doom as well. I think you're playing into Lycan.
Yeah, no,
so
Doom's okay.
So shut down his Helm of the Overlord timing because of your level 15 talent, and you're gonna have something against Faceless Void just to shut him down. Yeah, it's really greedy. Like, this is Doom, Medusa, Templar Assassin. I feel like Mikoto, he needs to pop off, and he also needs to join some of these earlier fights because ET Rubik, they can't do it on their own.
I just feel like it's too greedy. Like, every pick along the way sure makes some sense, but if they go a little bit too slow, if they don't like rotate through twin gates and like gank safe lanes with diving, I just feel like they're going to be way out of pace once if Team Liquid gets some advantage. And basically all their heroes are ready to go. When Lycan's is up, they'll dive. When Void's got Chrono, they're going to dive. Snapfire's one of the best rotating mids. I just feel like Liquid's going to roll over them.
Thinking what heroes they actually pick, because I only know 3, now I know 4. I'm gonna go with Liquid. I think their team fight is also much more superior, and I think they can roll them over, especially with the Lycan. There's gonna be like a timing where that Doom doesn't have that level 15 talent, so your Helm of the Overlord is gonna be very potent. They can group up and just, I believe, roll over Talon in this one.
Yeah, with that in mind though, what does Talon need to do really well to be able to get the tie here?
Well, whenever I see a draft where you have a carry mid, it's going to be all eyes on that player and whether they can make it work or not. So can he be able on Mikoto to get a good laning stage and find some way to be able to play with the supports? Because we already know Deuce is not going to play the supports. Doom's not going to play the supports. Mikoto can, if he does well in the laning stage, gets the runes and the supports play around him. All eyes on Mikoto.
He is familiar with that kind of pressure, and he does deliver normally though, right?
For the most part, I would agree. Yes, he does.
Oh, that's a good sign. I have Ember versus Timber. Did Mikoto do well in that matchup in the previous one? Mikoto on the Timber, Nisha on the Ember? Like, how does he normally do against Nisha?
He's normally pretty solid. I don't remember the specifics of how they did in the mid lane, but generally Mikoto, yeah, is really, really good.
Okay, there's a lot of hope there for Talon. Of course, the series, both teams guaranteed upper bracket here at Riyadh Masters for the playoffs that start tomorrow. But one of these two teams might be starting in a little bit more advantageous position on the top of their group, and one of them will drop a little bit down and therefore might get a less advantageous matchup. We're going to find out which one's going to be which, though. We're heading over to a commentary duo of Cap and SVG.
Yes, that's right. These teams want to be able to get the second place spot in Group B. That way, Avery, they can get the better matchup, which would be versus Gaming Gladiators.
Oh.
Whoever wins this may have the opportunity to take on Gaming Gladiators in the first round of the playoffs.
Wait, is that how it works?
Yeah, Gaming Gladiators got third in Group A.
It's just matched up. They don't choose?
Well, okay, likely, maybe, who is it, BBT? Maybe BBT chooses Gaming Gladiators, in which case you would get maybe, we have tiebreaker.
You're assuming whoever one won't pick them.
Sure. Yeah.
Bold choice it would be indeed. Well, that is sometimes your reward in Dota. You should have got better.
You would know about that, actually. You got the reward of facing OG multiple times in playoffs.
We don't always have to bring up my past, man. Why don't I bring up your past?
Okay.
I'm not going to do that, actually. You have a way too shady of a past.
What? You can't just throw that out there.
I mean, I don't even know what did you even do in Dota? Like, oh, there's some veggie stack 8 years ago you played versus Mason. I don't know.
My claim to fame is that I played on Root Gaming when we played up against the old Fnatic lineup. We played a Beastmaster Pudge Chen combination.
Nobody knows what that
against
you're
them,
talking about.
where we did the fountain hooking, and we were actually kind of winning that game.
Yeah, and then you went dancing at the disco club.
No, I was just
not even irrelevant decade here. But what is relevant is that game was rough for Makoto, which means he just lost his #1 KDA title.
Uh-oh.
Get wrecked, kids, because we know everybody's playing for the KDA here.
Of course.
In order to become a legend, you must become a legendary KDA player.
Yes.
So he lost that last game. Now he's going to have to gain it back. He's going to need like a 15-0.
Hey, so I saw this in the draft. You actually mentioned it. It got me thinking. Templar Assassin and Dusa on the same team. This has happened in various metas over the years.
Yes.
Why? Why did these duo get put together so often?
Mistake.
Misclick? Misclick in the draft?
It's a duo that is very rare because generally they...
I feel like it's not rare, though. I've seen this duo in multiple different patches.
Have you seen it win?
I mean, maybe not recently, but it used to be like maybe when there were more carry mids being picked up.
So basically when you pick this duo, I think you end up running the TA more as a true 2. Like you're going to go earlier Blink, Shard, Dragonlance, something, and just fight with the supports. And if you do that, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
If you play this TA like a 1 and you're just farming Ancients and you're going some Deso, BKB, whatever, and you're just taking the space away from Dusa, and then Dusa has nowhere to go and you have 2 carries, I do not like that aspect of this duo.
Okay.
The other issue is both these heroes tend to run into the same problems, which is the heroes that outrange both cause you issues, like Sniper, sometimes the Shadow Fiend matchups, but TAs generally beat Shadow Fiend, but like Safe
Dro Ranger, those guys.
Yeah, Dro Ranger, Arc Warden is another big one. Those heroes cause you problems. And the tempo a lot of times causes you problems. Like summons heroes, Venomancer, like Viper Razors, these things that just run you down. Sometimes you just can't get the farm on both to be able to defend your towers and take that fight. That's why I'm always a little sus when I see the 1 and 2 between the TA and the Dusa. Here, Liquid got a pretty good Lycan pick, and I think Snapfire can do okay. Though this TA pick is mainly designed to win the lane versus Snapfire. I think it's one of the few heroes that can in theory, do that. But Makoto is suffering here early.
What are the things that they do well together, though? Because...
Farm.
Okay.
Many creeps can.
But then they still don't do that well together because they have an overlap of what they want to hit, which is Ancients.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So there's literally no upside to having this duo together.
I mean, Meld Strike into Dusa right clicks is pretty good.
Stone Gaze into TA right clicks is pretty good.
I guess it's similar to like a Medusa Shadow Fiend lineup. If you hit your timing, you can control Roshan with the vision and the Stone Gaze. It's pretty hard to get in on Talon without them knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
That aspect's pretty nice.
Tossing them back here, seeing if they can get the first blood onto Insania. If they get lucky with bashes, no, it's not even close. Q, he'll secure the kill. And get first blood over Insania.
I was like, damn, that's a surprising kill. Usually you're not killing Crystal Maidens in the early game, especially going through time dilation. But of course, Jabs did find Chain Lightning, so of course Gabe has just gifted him a free lane win.
That makes sense, yeah.
Sometimes you pick lottery numbers and they're right. That is often a very good strategy in Dota. It is a way to counteract the fact that you have a very greedy lineup. Is good RNG.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You can tell how much I love this creep. By the way, I always describe how happy I am to see Chain Lightning in the game.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, you mention it all the time, so you must be happy with it. I mean, you mention certain players all the time. It must mean you're happy with that.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me?
It's the end of the group stage. You gotta have a little fun.
Yeah, to that one guy, you know what? I'm gonna call him out. That one guy. Actually, I'm not gonna call him out. I'll let him be. I'll let him be. But he knows who he is. That one guy out there. You know who you are. I do not like you, sir. I do not like you, but I will not say anything beyond that. He knows who he is. Nisha is gonna burn the refraction. I like the early point here to be able to burn the refraction and then get the nukes in on the TA. I think that's how you're supposed to play this matchup. Like, you lose a little bit because you have to take Shredder early. Yeah. But I think Nisha's happy to do it when he gets this sort of outcome in the lane, which is just a straight up win here.
Yeah, he established a lead very early on by just attacking Makoto over and over and over, even underneath the tower. He was just like, I'm gonna keep hitting you.
Abuse the fact you have better stats and better early trade mechanisms as long as the refraction's down. And this is where this matchup doesn't feel too bad, honestly. Like, the refraction burn is significant. Later in the game, it's a very good matchup for TA because Snapfire does not want to commit late game Shredders into refraction. That feels terrible.
Sure.
For now, in the early game, which is kind of where Liquid want to strike again, they want to play a fast game with the Lycan pushing down the greed here from Talon. It's going to feel great.
Do you think the damage over time of Kisses is okay against TA?
It's okay. I mean, this matchup's not terrible for Snap. I don't know if any matchup is terrible for Snapfire in the game, outside of, I guess, like, Nyx Assassin.
Yeah.
It's just, it is one of, like, there's a reason Talon just picked it, and it was their response towards the Snap, right? They know Makoto's
really low.
Generally going to do okay.
Gonna go for him. Pull him back into the meld hit. Fade bolt. And the last hit isn't quite enough. Makoto has to find him somewhere on the trees. He turns around. He is faster. And I think Nisha realized that, so he did what damage he could before he falls, which does result in the kill.
Yeah, but look at the wave hitting the tower.
Oh, yeah, he pulled it down. So all these creeps are gonna die without the Snapfire here.
I mean, Boxy's happy about it. Nisha is definitely not. He did hit 6 before he died, and I guess Makoto is out-leveled here. This is a rough start for Makoto. Even with that kill, it's just not really reflecting it in the actual net worth here. He's going to have to catch up. The problem is this is where that Dusa TA overlap kind of feels bad, right? If you need your Templar Assassin to catch up in this game, he's your one hero that your supports can play through. And yeah, they managed to get 23. Low with some blood
from behind. I feel like Crystal Maiden's one of the heroes that uses the portal the best as a 5 position. The damage is enough. Makoto will die. Nisha landing all the shots. Ooh, Boxy getting a good blast off. Insania's still gonna die, but they could definitely set up some damage. Maybe they've run out of it, actually. Nisha not able to do enough.
Support 2 is getting pretty active from Talon early. It's just hard to dissuade the aggression here from Liquid. And a second death from Makoto, man. I really cursed the hell out of him.
I will back you up on this. Stat-wise, Snapfire is not in the top 10 of counters Templar Assassin is not in the top 10 of counters to the Snapfire, but is in the top 20. So it is favorable for TA, this matchup against Snapfire. There is a winning stat for her.
I can see it. It did not pan out here. I can see the logic, though.
Yeah.
And it's been a hero that's caused a lot of people's problems on the mid lane. So I like the fact that Talon were looking for some creative solution. I don't know if TA is a hero you generally do well with first phasing. I think that's where this hero suffers the most. Going back to some of those TIs that I also won't name. As 23 bites the bullet, didn't even need Chrono.
I will say, Liquid, I have a note about them. I feel like they had a slow start at this tournament, and I would argue that it is their slower lineups that has made them look kind of eh. But when they play fast, they look like one of the best teams in the world, which is what they should be.
I mean, they are one of the best teams in the world.
I know, but I'm saying they don't look like one of the best teams in the world when they play these slower lineups.
I mean, just because you got second at 3 lands doesn't make you bad, Cap.
I was saying the opposite. I was saying they are good. They have the placements to back it up, but, you know, they don't look like it sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I also like when they play these kind of pseudo push lineups.
Yeah, I think they look so good with them.
They're one of the few teams that will bust out these late and pick like SF or Lone Druids to go with some of the early Beastmaster Lycans that Zai's been playing a lot of the year.
Yeah.
And just kind of run you over if you give them the space. This is one of those games where Talon are giving them a lot of early room, right? Multiple Dusa kills, multiple TA kills, and now 2 tier 1s are just gone without a contest here from Talon, top and mid.
They're going to trade off for this bottom tower.
This just doesn't feel as good, because I don't think you use the space nearly as well as Talon early on, and this Lycan is going to be big. He's going to go carry items, it looks like. An interesting idea from Zai. He's just going to go Echo Saber and run some people down. Not the Helm of the Overlord that would get eaten by the Doom later, however. That's a long time away, right? Level 15 for Doom, when Jabs is currently sitting at 6.5 here. You would have a lot of room to play with that Helm of the Overlord before he gets there.
Sure.
I think that was a route for Liquid. However, maybe the Faceless Void pick says they are fine playing this game a little bit slower, right? Like that Faceless Void again, like the Monkey King, it was kind of a hedge pick. Like, we still have really good scale. He can play fast and help us in the fights. It's not like some Lone Druid all in your push.
Yeah.
So I don't mind this from Zai. I don't think they have to speed this game up tremendously to punish the greed. You just need to do it at a certain point and lock Talon out of the map, because their heroes are going to catch up in net worth. It is inevitable. Devour plus Midas for Jabs will basically always...
This could be really good. And Viz allows Makoto to get in point-blank range for a hero, but he doesn't have a right support to play with just yet. Now Q shows up. Now they go for Boxy, but he's got the taser, so there goes that.
As TA pick has completely backfired for Talon. This was the only hero that if the lane goes well and they defend that mid tower, they have a hero to play through. Are you playing through Makoto right now? Is Makoto playing through Makoto right now? Is Makoto playing right now?
Somebody check the camera. Is that Makoto? And you don't have another active core, right? Because usually your other core to play through would be your offlaner. You've got a Jabs Doom, who right on cue is going to die.
Big Old's committed. I don't think Liquid are too worried about it as they look at the transition into another catapult wave. It's going to damage this bottom tier 1. Force some more small rotations from Talon. I don't know. This is just going to be one of those games where they're going to have to rat it out. I mean, I hate saying that at like 11 minutes, but I think it's going to be true, right? Are you going to contest the early Roshans here? Probably not. You're just going to have to greed it up, get some ancient stacks for the Dusa, and have Makoto.
Oh, Zai, he's been doing so many little things with these wolves, man. He double blocks the waves, so Makoto has nothing to farm here. He's been doing little things like taking away some of the last hits with the wolves. He's been scouting a lot with the wolves.
He's so sad.
Oh, that's cute. Not good enough, though.
That was very close. That is a kill that Talon needed. This Doom is still pretty scary for the Faceless Void for a lot of the game. Not too scary for the rest of Liquid's heroes. So if Jabs can find the connection, it's a way to get Talon back in this game. At least Makoto back in this game, as it's not that he's in a terrible position, it's just where he should have been. Relatively speaking, it's rough, and it's going to be a struggle for Talon to find kills on this map right now.
Blast off. Q is dead. Ollie will create the space to allow them to retreat, or maybe not enough space.
Zai
Look at
knows
Zai.
who he wants.
Yeah, he
Come
wants
here,
Makoto
brother.
immediately.
I have a treat for you.
He's going to slow him down with the Echo Saber hits. Ollie, can he get another stomp off to bail him out? It hits the wolf, but it doesn't stop Mickey, and the blast comes through from Nisha as well.
Well, if Makoto was unsure whether he's being focused this game, now he knows, as Zai sprinted past his entire team and said, "Your ass is mine, son." Early Echo is another tool to help burn through this refraction pretty quick. You get on top of him with 2 wolves plus an Echo hit, it's basically just gone.
Man, I kind of hope that Talon
ancient stealing
had gotten over the hump, because they had lost to Talon, or they had lost to Liquid a number of times. I mean, they lost both series at Lima.
They're the mortal enemy the entire year.
And then they finally managed to change the script a little bit by being able to 2-0 them in the Dream League group stage. But now, when it comes to a very big event in Riyadh Masters,
strikes back. That's one of those things where you talk to teams. There was that interview earlier about, they were asking Insania, who's your rival this year outside of gaming? I think Tsunami asked that.
Yeah.
Of course he said gaming. But I always wonder how many teams consider someone their rival and that team Just has
We don't
no
even know
cares.
who you
Yeah.
are.
I feel like that's the Talon Liquid. I feel like Liquid has been Talon's raid boss the entire year.
Yeah.
And then Liquid are like, yeah, we don't
Who?
care.
They're one of the C teams, right?
The thing is, all other series have been pretty competitive.
Yes.
I think Liquid, I'm not saying Liquid disrespects Talon or anything. I just think the year has been so repetitive with Liquid trying to be gaming that it separates out some of these rivalries, right?
What do you think Gaiman thinks their nemesis is?
Fate.
The
patch.
Answer. Yeah.
I think it's
The
Ice
patch,
Frog.
Ice Frog. No.
I mean, let me tell you something. The worst mistake you can make in a Dota year is to win majors. That's what.
Any references here?
Well, I mean, no team that's won a major has ever won TI in the same year. So Gaiman is screwed. Whereas Talon and Liquid, these might be your TI Grand Finalists right here.
I would love to see a C team in TI finals. It's been, well, never. It's never happened.
That would be cool. Maybe they can get it this year. They've been fairly stable. They've had some very creative drafting, players that can pop off. They are behind this series, but by no means out of it. I mean, they're going to find gold. That is the one thing about this Talon lineup and this team. They will stall games. They will find gold. They will give themselves a chance to win those team fights. Like last game, right? They were behind a lot. If they win one of those fights outside the Roche pit, if the monkey dies in the chrono, they win that game.
I've got a question for you.
This is a similar setup. If you manage to win a team fight with Elder Titan, Doom, Medusa, this game can become very scary for Liquid very quickly.
I saw a little bit of talk on Reddit how seems like everybody's playing the same way. I would disagree with that, but the way you describe Talon makes them sound like Tundra. Okay.
Stolen Scatterblast, pretty nice.
How do you think Talon do play like Tundra, or do you feel like they have maybe a similar style, but they do it a different way? Like, how do they always seem to find farm and push games late?
They're just very good at not getting caught on the map generally. And they also have heroes that abuse stacking and GPM mechanics. I mean, Doom definitely helps you, right?
Wait, you talking about Tundra or Talon? That still sounds like both.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess to a certain degree. I think Talon are better at team fighting their way back in the game, whereas Tundra are just scrappier on the map.
That's what I would agree with, yeah.
And so
100%.
here's going to be that smoke from Talon. They have Blinks on the Doom and the TA, and they're going to find a really good Doom.
Yeah, get this Snapfire out of here in the start of a fight. You're guaranteed to win it. Unfortunately for Talon, it doesn't really turn into a team fight past that pickoff.
No, but it turns into a minute here where they're going to be able to farm the map without pressure from Liquid, and Liquid are not taking an objective. This is like game one. They find these big core kills. That's Talon's strength. Even from behind, they find the core kills, which stall the game out and buy time for the rest of their heroes to catch up. They're not even that far behind at this point, right?
No, they're not.
I mean, you might be going for a second Midas on Makoto. I am not sure about that one. We'll see. We'll see if he decides to commit there. That would be a very
like you
late
didn't
Midas.
have enough greed as is.
I think this is I don't have any creeps to hit Midas.
Yeah, because you're sharing Ancients with the Medusa.
Could pay off if this game goes very late. They're going to chomp Q
So
down.
Nisha decides to come back into the game and immediately get revenge.
Jabs gets out. That's a wasted Lycan form. I think you have to go Roche here if you're Liquid. It's just you don't have the Helm on the Lycan to speed it up, so it's going to be a little slow if you decide to commit. But I don't think you have another choice. I think you have to start accelerating this game, abusing the fact that Talon are not going to fight you right now.
Oh, they got Solar Crest. That really speeds it up.
Yeah, that definitely helps. I guess you have some Shredder to pour in here as well. It's not too slow.
Yeah, double minus armor with 3 physical damage hitting heroes.
Talon are going to try and scout this with a spear. There's no contesting it here. And now it's just a question of, what are you trying to do with this Aegis if you're Liquid? Are you trying to catch Talon on the map? Are you trying to invade and take over all the Ancients so you can out farm them? Or are you trying to go early high ground with a Faceless Void lineup, which can be a bit awkward? I feel like they're just going to try and catch on the map.
Throwing some spells back and forth, but now that Roshan has been taken and the cores are free to join,
he's good.
Talon still want to fight around this ward. But it seems like Liquid may not give it to them.
I mean, they're also okay just sitting up here, maybe feeding a support, because Deuce is farming triangle, and Makoto has neutral creeps to hit.
Bless.
He's still getting harassed by wolves, by the way, which is...
I do see that, yeah.
However, he will almost get to Midas. This is one of the weirder Midases I've seen in my time.
I feel like it strikes me that Zai, I think it's his Lycan specifically. I don't think of Zai as a big micro hero. But whenever he plays Lycan, he does the most like ice type micro things with the Wolves, you know? Ice was one of those guys who was really well known for his micro out on the map when it came to using his summons.
Jabs is also one of those players.
Oh yeah, that's true.
People
actually,
don't think of it from Jabs. His Furion is one of the more annoying Furions.
Yeah,
I've
to
ever
spread
played
him around the
against.
map, block
Yeah, he
4
blocks
camps
every
at
camp.
once.
So Zai definitely picking it up with the Wolf micro here, and Mickey is hasted with some Wolves blocking it up. There's that micro, making it shine here. And it'll claim a tier 2 for Liquid after they wake up.
Take a little nap.
I also like the bots from Nisha this game. Of course, bots has pretty much become a staple on the mid snap, but I think when you have the Wolves, it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, that makes it even better, you're right.
Like these random Wolves that are fighting Makoto can easily turn into a 2 or 3 man gank with the Snapfire connecting. Also just helps you play the map versus Talon and not fall too far behind in terms of the gap you're creating, as the Midas is finished for Makoto.
19-minute Midas, all right.
That's got to be one of the latest of the tournament, maybe one of the latest in his career.
Maybe the only Midas Templar Assassin.
Yeah, it's not even a common item on this hero.
Yeah.
It tells you there are issues with the Dusa TA. He just doesn't have Ancients to farm. He feels like he needs the levels, maybe more than anything here. Mickey in very deep.
Uh-oh. Blinks into Mickey. Unfortunate. They're going to use the Chronosphere here.
Is he actually
going to try and
kill
get the solo kill, and he does manage to get it off of some very early Maelstrom procs. Well, I mean, if Talon isn't going to fight you,
Wait,
might as well throw it out.
Okay, he just walks up Chronos in, and then in 2 hits, he double bashes triple Maelstrom.
Did he actually get a third Maelstrom proc? No wonder he died so quickly. Oh my god.
I just picked this guy faceless.
Oh no!
Void.
The Deuce is caught. Now he did manage to get off the Stone Gaze first, the TP away, and he is out. Nicely played by 23. Mickey, oh no. That's a doomed up Faceless Void that just turns around and kills you.
I don't even think he's dead, and he has Aegis anyway. This
Yeah.
is not the Doom that Jabs is trying to look for.
Zai's
here.
running around without Shapeshift in their tier 3.
This greedy lineup from Talon has yielded nothing for them so far. They are getting abused at this point.
I do have to question the general idea of, well, they kind of got in some ways, like they were holding it. It was his contestable game 1, but they did ultimately lose tempo on game 1. And then they chose a greedier lineup against Liquid.
I mean, the thing is, it's a greedier. I don't even know if the lineup's innately greedier. It's just the comeback mechanisms are way worse, I think.
Okay, sure.
Right, like that game 1, it can be a greedy lineup, but they have a toss back, they have a black hole chrono that if you clump on Liquid and you lose that fight, the game goes way better for you. What's the comeback here for Talon?
Farm. It's just finding, farm, and
land
waiting.
a 4-man stomp.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, that's never going to happen. I guess you can get some cheeky Doom pickoffs, and you can split the map with traps, try and find these isolated Faceless Voids. Mickey's just not giving it to him.
Yeah.
And again, he has a lot of vision to play with, too, with these Wolves that are just scouting everybody here. The moves are hard to make when these Wolves are constantly on top of somebody or blocking camps. 2 more camps have been blocked out by Zai as well. He's just taking so much farm away. These Wolves have paid for themselves, quite literally. As Butterfly finished for 23, that is a very large Dusa timing here for Talon. Normally when you'd want to get a Roshan of your own, of course Aegis is still sitting in Mickey's pocket here. That option is not going to be available. Talon got to get some sort of team fight going soon, I think. They're not out efficiencying Liquid here. And their window where their spells are still going to be effective is going to get cut off eventually with the net worth on the Faceless Void and the Lycan, who is building a second Halberd, by the way. So kind of a mixture of a build for Zai. This guy likes his hybrid builds for sure. He's going some utility, some damage, some scouting. It's going to be a lot of Refraction Break and double Halberd between him and Nisha here on the Snapfire means you're going to have a lot of disarm for the Dusa and the TA. Another issue with these two together, right? The itemization is very straightforward.
Yeah,
anything
armor,
that deals with
disarm.
physical right-clicking is going to be amazing the entire game.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, they have, between the Wolves and the Vision, they, I believe, now have a Blink Dagger on the Crystal Maiden, so they have even more jump and catch. It's tough to play the map out here if you're Talon,
and
but you don't have any other choice.
It's a good Maiden game, spells-wise. Like, usually Maiden can't play that aggressive, but if you ever land any of your spells on the TA or the Medusa, you're super happy, because the Frostbite's going to disable them for a while, but the attack speed slows that come out from this hero are very significant this game.
Oh.
Right, in the Nova, even in your ulti, just slowing people down. I actually like that element of the CM here. You have multiple attack slows between your ult and a Nova. Even getting them out for 2 or 3 seconds in a fight limits a lot of the physical right click coming out from Talon in a period where they might need to get it out off a Stomp or a Doom target.
A smoke out here from Talon. One of the rare moves they're going to make as a team to play aggressively.
Doesn't look like it's going to hit. We'll
Yeah.
find a shield room, which is a very nice room.
Under attack. Dire are scanning.
Looking for somebody straggling around mid. Liquid are just not taking the bait and using the Lycan to know where Talon are. Gonna send the Wolves in.
Yeah, and when, like, if the Dusa is pushing this deep, you know what's going on. In a losing game like this, the Dusa is not crossing over that river on mid unless she's got heroes around her.
I think Liquid are just gonna hit Talon's base here.
Yeah.
Why not, right? Force Talon into position where they have to show again. Maybe they're afraid of getting doomed from like a surprise blink or getting flanked here. Mjolnir finish for Mickey. They're gonna see Q in base. This might prompt a Liquid smoke to cross the map. Right on Q. Because of Q.
Head up to that top part of the map, but 23.
This is a nice smoke. This is one of those smokes where you saw just enough info off that lane push bottom to make a quick move where you know someone from Talon pretty much has to go to clear with the wave and deal with the camps. And
oh, no way. No. Oh, no way. 23's going to push for more because, of course, he didn't see all those heroes. And he's going to be caught before the Stone Gaze, so I don't think he's going to have the mana left afterwards.
Well, that was almost fate, quite literally, that he survived there. But fate is not too kind as he got greedy for the creeps. And
Stolen Chronos here is pretty sick, though, with 2 ranged carries. Yeah.
That is a good spell here for sure. Also can interrupt a lot of what Liquid want to do with multiple channel spells and even a techies who wants to jump in.
So they might be able to use that for the next Roshan fight, which is in potential spawn time has already started. We know it's going to be in a minute. Both teams are going to try and set up for that Rosh.
This is a big chrono too because you have the Earth Splitter to throw into it. You have your own Faceless Void ET combo. They're going to find Mickey, unfortunately, the one hero you can't chrono.
Yeah, that makes things way more awkward.
They really want the Lycan with this, because it's also going to harm Zai during his wolf form, which is on cooldown.
Nisha's going to chase after this one. The Stomp's going to be used right as the TP's in. They're going to leave Ollie behind. Yeah, they are.
And Liquid feels strong enough to push these fights even without the wolf form. Even without Chrono or Mortimer. I mean, they're missing 3 ults on their cores, and they're still just aggressively TPing into Talon. No fear at all. And probably rightly so. We are still looking for the first big item on Makoto here.
What do you mean? He's got Hand of Midas.
The first big item on Makoto.
A big kill, because any kill is a big kill for Talon at this point. See if they can kill Insania. Telekinesis throw him back. They do manage to get it, but the team fight that occurs afterwards, no Liquid. They want no part of it. As you said, no ultimates.
Yeah, you have Chrono Kisses there. That immediately looks terrible for you. BKB done for Makoto. Okay. He will get to do something now. Better make it count. You got one shot, kid.
One opportunity.
Don't choke.
16-5, 8,000 net worth lead for Team Liquid.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
This second Roshan is going to be their opportunity to close out the game. And it should be a free Roshan since they get a kill while they're positioning for that Roshan pit.
Still have stolen Chrono here for a little less than a minute. That did feel like your best opportunity to try and find some big core kill into a turnaround. Now you're just going to give that ult up completely without using it, and you're going to go up this Roche fight without contesting it.
Yeah, imagine if you could have smoked in there, Chronosphere them inside the pit, And then Jusa sets up, stone gazes them after the Chronosphere. They're all just stuck in the pit taking damage.
Well, that dream is remaining a dream. As Liquid claim Aegis, they'll put it on to Mickey. No surprise there. This Faceless Void is just going to go in and look for anything, pretty much. No saves for the Chronosphere, so unless you start with Doom on him, which Aegis prevents, somebody is getting stuck in that Chrono and probably dying in the Chrono. Buybacks are a consideration here for Talon. You can just take a buyback fight. Double damage on Makoto might make them look aggressively with their ward.
Yeah.
This is a very good rune. Makes up for the damage items he's missing. Of course, Hand of Midas can take full advantage of that.
Yeah, so the great attack speed that comes from Hand of Midas.
So maybe it all worked out here. And of course, he has the Grove Bow, thanks to the Hand of Midas, guaranteeing a neutral item drop.
What if that was a side effect of Hand of Midas? You got to choose any neutral item when you produced it with the Hand of Midas usage. Any within the tier.
That's just too broken.
Too broken.
Here comes the push. Ult's back up. Cheese
Level
Aegis,
20 Talon up
ready
for
to go.
Mickey as well. We talked about that one last game.
I guess you have to find the Snapfire with the Doom. Maybe the Lycan if you can get him before he ults. That's a very risky jump of Jabs, who is lurking behind them, eating some golems.
The Dire Scan put to use there to try and get Jabs. Okay.
Interesting that Liquid
Oh,
gave up the
yeah,
push.
they spot 23. He goes for a TP out. He's not going to make it.
Ooh, very clutch frostbite.
No. I mean, you pop the Stone Gaze, but you have so far to go, 23. Tries to fight his way out of this one. Of course, 1 versus 3. It's not a very fair fight. Sania hidden away in the trees gets a really good freezing field.
Perfect TP setup from Liquid there. They have the right heroes TPing to the right places, which guarantees they get that stun in just in time. Otherwise, you waste a huge chunk of this Aegis timer, because you could have just committed high ground there. You also wasted this DD from Makoto that's basically not going to get to see an enemy hero. Gem will get a little D-ward there for Q, so something taken away from Liquid here. Still, they're just getting a free game, man. There's just no kill action for Talon. Those big core kills that sometimes get them back in the game, they just feel impossible right now. Age is still up for 2 minutes. Time to go again. No Medusa here. Gonna have to wait for the respawn, which means you have an opening.
Frostbite Harpoon, pull him in. Mikoto immediately has to use the BKB. And Mickey still holding on to the Chronosphere. Could use it in any time. But they're just going to let that BKB be wasted.
And you farmed for 30 minutes for that BKB and you got nothing out of it.
Yeah, and now he's even being harassed. Oh, he's dead.
And you got the Doom, so the turnaround can't even really be there.
Earth Splitter is going to be able to finish off that Aegis. What a TP in, though, from 23. It is demolishing them. They get the Heaven's Halberd out a little bit too late, and they do manage to get the Doom out onto Mickey on the second life. Jabs are going to chase after him here.
They need to connect the
Stomp. Did it land?
And he went to it as well. Shard on the Elder Titan.
Oh, God, can they fight him? Nisha's going to be able to hit the 2-man stun. That might just be enough. The Mute is going to run out soon. The Doom runs out. He's going to be able to time walk to safety.
Talon needed that.
That could have been such a big kill.
They really needed that. You're not going to get too many openings to find this Faceless Void. Still, it's a pretty good base defense from Talon, because this looked awful, right?
Yeah.
Get the TA post BKB, he's just immediately gone. The root, the stolen Frostbite here really caused Mickey some problems, though, because he doesn't have a BKB of his own.
Whew, what an Earth Splitter, man.
Yeah, Ollie salvages this fight with the TP in from the Medusa. Unfortunately for 23, he gets double halberded here.
Yeah, he's also got Taser that he's going to be hitting off the multi-shot, so
he just can't hit anybody, and the chase is not great, right? Which allows Mickey to eventually get out of here. Still, it's a nice base hold, one of the strengths of this lineup, and they will turn it into a Tormentor, which means another shard going to the Rubik, so now you have a lift save on top of that ET shard that we saw. Could be a lot of burst damage that comes out. You throw the Zerg Splitter in, the ET gets in there, removes the armor from the Void, you can pop him.
Okay. Talon, it's a rough game. We need something to make the difference here. Q's building an Aghanim Scepter.
Light of Heaven with a BKB.
No.
Okay.
Aghanim Scepter Rubik. What can he get with that?
Invisibility.
Well, can he get it? That's the first question.
I don't even think the second Interceptor is there's not really
like
a big
he has-
Hag's ability to get.
I think he has the best spell. I think this level 4
Yeah, he does.
Frostbite is the best spell he's going to get in this game because it's extremely annoying for pretty much all of Liquid's cores. They don't have ways to get rid of it easily.
Well, maybe it's just about having a second spell then.
Yeah, I mean, time dilation would be okay. Stolen Chrono could be very nice. Maybe the stolen proximity mine, a la little Tundra high ground hold action.
Yeah. I don't think that gives you the minefield sign.
No. So I'm going back to that game where Nine played Rubik and mined up his base, you know, it becomes pretty iffy, especially when you're looking at situations where you're potentially trying to burst his Faceless Void off a jump. Like he leaps into 2 mines, gets lifted. Maybe you just kill Mickey.
Sure.
That would be pretty good. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, if you get any of Nisha's spells, you're probably happy. I just think those are probably going to be the harder ones to steal still. 2 spells are better than 1. That is just good math. And of course, they still have a very farmed Medusa. I mean, we haven't talked about it too much, but 23 Savage is technically the most farmed hero in this game. And he has found a decent amount of net worth that is translated into items which are peaking right now in the Elven Tunic and the Butterfly. Unfortunately, Mickey is incredibly farmed and already has MKB. So all that evasion on the Medusa is not doing a huge amount for him. It is translating into a decent amount of attack speed with damage. And now with this Daedalus pickup, maybe you have more burst damage to throw into these Frostbites or lifts. You just take a core down and get a good Doom. Something that fight might not look that bad. You're going for an Ags on the Elder Titan as well. This is a lot of greedy itemization on a greedy lineup, man. Like, you know, you could build a Solar or a Glimmer. Nah, I'm going to carry. No, I'm going to carry. No. I will carry the game.
You're right. We need, what Talon desperately need is another hero that does right-click damage.
I mean, I'm waiting for Jabs to buy a Daedalus on Doom at this point. I think somehow Jabs has been the most sacrificial. He bought a pipe. He bought a Shiva's.
Good for him.
He bought a Midas that translated into team items. Where are the Jabs haters now? Played for the team. He bought an Aura.
Yeah,
for his
look
4
how the
other
team
carries.
repays him. Maybe that's why. Maybe he knows if he doesn't build selfish items, then his team builds selfish items.
I mean, it is something to note. It is pretty crazy that you're playing this like Dusa TA lineup and you don't have a single utility item on 2 supports here.
Yeah, 4 staff, Solar Crest.
It's just nothing, right? It's all greed. So you better make a payoff, man. And I hope this is where the individual skill comes into play for Talon, is they're going to look for a fight. They know High Ground Ward is there. They'll be killed. They'll replace it with their own. Vision could mean everything when you're looking for this jump with the Doom to try and seal a core's fate.
It's going to be rough, though. What do they do when Mickey walks forward with a BKB? Sania, he's going to try and get the reveal here. Nullifier goes out, stopping the 4-staff, but the cookie does allow him to disengage. They pop the Shivas, trying to get some additional vision.
And that BKB just got delivered for the Faceless Void.
Yep.
So he's a beast now. If he goes in BKB, even if you doom him, there's disengage mechanisms for Liquid. You can 4-staff him out, you can glimmer him, you can cookie him. And the chase, as we've seen, is not amazing for Talon unless the Deuce's in there. This might be a game where you just need more items on 23. I hate to say that. It feels like, I think you need BKB and Swift Blink on this Medusa. I don't think one of them's enough. I think you kind of need both, or at least BKB into Blink.
Well, that just means more time for the Hand of Midas to pay off.
That's true. I guess it has paid off for Makoto.
We're staying at 9K net worth lead for Liquid. Hasn't really gone very far from there. Okay, now it's 10K.
Yeah, the Wolf will find some support.
Oh, the Stone Gaze to stop the TP. The Nullifier goes out. Oh, and he blinks out of the Chronosphere too. Hurricane up to the high ground. Meanwhile, from Jabs, unfortunately, that is a level 22 Snapfire. So, speaking of the physical damage, it is ramping up for Liquid as well.
I mean, as flashy as that looked for Talon and as good as they got out of the Chrono, unfortunately, they still lost 2 heroes bottom while Roche has respawned. So that will pretty much guarantee the next big man here for Liquid, as it is Roche on number 3, which means this is the good one for Faces Void. This is the one where you get the Aegis and that Refresher Shard. So double Chrono, double Faceless Void BKB, 2 lives, and never mind, they're going to give it to Nisha because Nisha's the best player in the world. Sorry, Mickey.
do you think he says that? Give me the Aegis.
Oh, no, he
I'm
gave
the
it back
best
over.
player in the world.
Nisha says, no, Mickey, you're the best player in the world. You deserve that Refresher Shard. I can't believe I almost took it away from you. I mean, that makes sense, right?
Maybe to be the best player in the world, you don't need that item, though.
That's true. He says, I'm going to get the job done without it.
Yeah.
Here, you need it.
Meanwhile, you, Mickey, I don't know. Sometimes those chronospheres are a little off.
Yeah, Mickey, I
sometimes.
think you need 2 this game.
Mikoto on the run. Blink up in 7 seconds. Can he get out?
Looks unlikely.
Can he get out, though? He tried to kill the mine.
Did he miss the mine?
I don't know how that happened.
Why is this mine alive?
I don't know. Oh, when he died, the mine went back into its invis state.
Oh, wow, that's a split-second thing. Nice heads-up call by you, Cap.
Thank
Doom
you,
onto
thank
the
you.
Faceless Void. There is 1 life absolutely gone. Can they get the second, though?
Stomp hitting the back line, but what about the heroes hitting your building?
I mean, Doom is really their only tool to all in this Faceless Void outside of a prolonged fight. If anything, that freed up the slot for a Refresher Shard. I don't know if Mickey is too sad about that. Second jump with a
Go
lit.
for him. They almost get Nick A, but it gets a time walk off, and
That's your
now
Stone
you've expanded
Gaze.
yet another ultimate.
To get the BKB out. I mean, this is just Liquid waiting for Chrono cooldown.
Yeah, that is the really dangerous part. They're about to pull out the big Chronosphere. Potentially double Chronosphere.
Stomp lands, trying to whittle through them. The Hex onto Jab's jump.
Burst
though.
Splitter coming out. Does manage to hit Nisha, but they lose their Doom. Still failing to get a kill here, Talon.
And no buyback for Jabs. They're going to have to wait for Makoto to respawn here and try and get something done. They did refresh on Mickey, so if Liquid back out here, this feels a little bad in that you use that Refresher Shard for second Chrono and you're not taking the fight.
Sure.
And you only got 1 lane. No buybacks forced out either. Not that Talon had them. They didn't have to use gold on it. I guess that is another successful base defense
All
by
right.
Talon here at the 40-minute mark, and they'll push this game even later.
Doesn't matter if you're down 30K net worth. If you could just get it over the hour marker for Talon, anything's possible.
They need some more disable, man. I don't know. It's just all in this Doom.
So you want more Aghanim Scepters? Is that what you're saying?
We need more greed. We must go deeper. They're like, Jabs, why didn't you build a Hex? It's like, guys, you've been yelling at me to build Auras an entire year. Build your own damn Hex. I'm a utility player now. I don't know, where do you even get it, right? Like, who do you even have to build the Hex on this team?
Yeah.
Or extra stuns, or Bloodthorn, or any of this type of stuff, right? It's just not, you just don't have the heroes to build it. You kind of just have to play around the Doom, which is why that
Apparently
Roshan's
X
a bit of a
now
problem.
for Medusa.
Okay, I guess it will be 23. I mean, I feel like they need this item, because otherwise every time Liquid have an Aegis, I just don't think you can fight. 25 Psionic Traps. Wow.
Smoke up. Time for Talon to make a big move. Wow.
I think they thought that was sarcastic. It wasn't. I was actually surprised they got that many traps.
Dire are scanning.
Avery just says, wow, and then just looks at me with a smile.
You didn't say anything, dude. You're supposed to say something. Okay, so
wow,
here's
you're
where-
right, Avery. That is a lot of
This
gold.
is where you're supposed to be like, oh, look, you know, Sun's, oh, this is a sad wolf. Why do they show this? One wolf's dead, the other is calling for his, I don't know, whatever, man. It's just a wolf. Wow.
Wow.
4 faces Void Illusion.
Boxy just boldly going up into that triangle area, the one area that Talon has been able to get a little bit of farm out.
Dire's
Could have been
top
2
barracks
mines
are
if,
under attack.
you know, you got that meld
They're
hit
slacking
earlier.
on the mines here.
All right, Daedalus soon for Makoto. I mean, he's close to, you know, he's getting kind of capped
He's
out.
got a double damage again, too. He's hiding. He's baiting.
Oh, look at Insania go in! Blink BKB with
a
the
god.
shard immediately just pops the freezing field. Makoto does manage
Was
to
that
blink away,
intentional?
and they killed the Crystal Maiden.
Whose Force Staff was that?
Dire's courier has been killed.
That was his own force staff.
Was
He was
it?
chasing after them.
I I don't think it was.
Well, his 4 staff is on cooldown.
I mean, I guess Talon don't have one because they don't have any utility, so this is the only one in the game. I didn't think it was his. That was incredibly aggressive by Insania. I don't know why that looked so funny. It just did.
We're going in, boys.
He's like, team, we're winning this fight, right? I'm going in.
You're right behind me, right?
Yo, Nisha, I got him locked down. Nisha.
Nisha, where are you?
Well, they're going to find a chrono on Jabs. He's tanky, not that tanky. And
well,
if he just gets solo killed here.
Oh, look at it die. Chomping away at those
stolen
supports,
freezing field
but maybe
with the
they
shard.
can kill him. They've got him.
Oh,
Mickey is putting in some damage, though. He time walks away. Jabs back at it with the Shivas going after Nisha. They got a Doom on him. Slow him down with the Scotty, with the TA trap as well. They might just be able to get a second kill out of this one. 23 fighting 4 against the Faceless Void. Well, no way. The Doom is about to expire. He has to finish him. Oh, Jabs gets him in the end. And the Techies died. Talon. Wait a minute.
They strike back big time. That freezing field steal from Q did work in that fight, man. 4,600 damage. He has the shard that froze Zai in place, and all of a sudden your Wolf is an ice cube. Sure, you lose Makoto, but you get a lot out of it. 2 buybacks, that's going to hurt Jabs' economy. Though if there's one player in this game you're okay taking the hit, I guess it's him, as he was just dead in the chrono anyway. And you got a gem out of that, I think, too.
You got a Scythe for 23 now?
Yeah, you got a lot of momentum off of that single fight.
Freezing field with Aghanim Scepter.
That is not something Zai expected here. He manted aggressively, right? If he still had it, maybe he can run out there. That spell is no joke. And you're starting to pick up the damage. I think the biggest thing about this fight for me is look when Mickey goes back in. I think he was feeling very confident to take this man fight. He's dying to the Dusa here.
Yeah.
That is in a single jump duration, right? This Faceless Void is not invincible anymore, especially with the Hex pickup coming out on 23.
Look how much gold that was worth. It was like 2,400 gold for the Nisha kill. He only had to make a kill streak.
Well, they're behind by a lot, and he did have that streak, so that is how deaths work.
Thank you, Avery.
You're welcome. That's why I'm here. And most importantly, Cav, that has finished up the Aghanim Scepters for the Talon supports. So all of this greed, all of this gold injection. Oh my god.
What?
Jab sold the pipe.
He sold the pipe? No way.
He sold the pipe.
He sold the pipe. Even when he does buy utility, he just throws it in the trash later.
I can't take this team. I mean, in his defense, I don't know if it was doing much here.
Sure.
And A on disc is way better when he's getting chronoed and killed with no buyback than the pipe. Right, he kind of has to play for himself with no buy. Shadowblade also going to help him find initiations. I don't think there's anything wrong with this, but thematically, it's real damn juicy. you got to admit that here. As Jab says, utility is for scrubs.
This could be the biggest break. Uh-oh. Chronosphere already up there, just going to all in the Dusa.
Where's my
He's
pipe?
losing all of his mana so quickly. There is no pipe to save him.
The pipe is gone.
There was no saves. Nobody around. Talon was
just
here.
hiding
Makoto
here.
was stuck. They had the Shadow Blade. Jabs
gem.
looking for a jump. He just grabs an illusion.
I mean, 23 has TP at 2. That's why he's waiting in his fountain right now. Somehow Makoto just hides there and there's no detection because they lost the gems. No, they still have a gem. They just didn't get in there.
Yeah, Boxy just didn't want to get that far forward.
Okay, you have, well, I was about to say you have some time with no chrono, but Mickey has his own refresher, so you don't have time without a chrono here. You are just going to have to take this team fight. You have to find the jump if you're Talon. You need vision. You need to find the Faceless Void. I don't think you can let him get another chrono like that off. 23 frontline. I think he assumes there is no chronosphere here. That assumption is wrong. Is he just going to meet the same fate?
Hit him with the cookie. Okay. I mean, this time around, they won't have the Freezing Field Kisses, though. Those are big damage spells around that first Chronosphere.
I mean, they have Little Shredder on a level 25 Snapfire.
That's true.
I feel like it's enough to wear through most of the mana pool, and Lycan Form is back up as well.
Talon, no, they kind of have to
They
force this.
don't
They're
know
going to
there's
start
a
hitting
chrono.
Roshan. They're going to jump in the Chronosphere. Only landing onto the Dusa. Can they save him? Mickey popping the Manta, trying to disjoint the Doom as quick as possible.
Out of mana.
Mana Shield is now gone, but the Telekinesis got him away. The Taser, all the shots from the little Shredder. He survived the cookie, but 23 is walking away. But what is the point of survival if you can't win the fight? Oh
And
no, he got
Insania.
chased down by Insania.
He says, I didn't get you round 1, but I got you round 2, son. And I'm gonna take this game as well as Liquid clean up Talon with the surprise refresher from Mickey, and that's it. They tried to walk into that pit. If you don't have a second chrono, there's some hope there, but the overwhelming net worth that just got accumulated in this game pushes Liquid to a Game 2 victory. They'll take the 2-0, and goddamn, did they look convincing in this series. Talon's greed just was not working for them here at all, as Liquid, I don't think it was the fastest buildup we've seen from them in terms of, okay, they just pushed you at 20 minutes or something. It just felt very solid and convincing, right? I don't feel like Talon were finding kills in this game to maintain an even distribution. And then their itemization is very greedy in this game too. Sure, there's a lot of playmaking potential, but at the end of the day, none of it really matters because your Deucer just gets chrono twice. And that's it. There's no save, there's no turnaround, there's no disjoint in the fight. All of this net worth, all these items you're building for everybody to shine, it ends up meaning that 23 can't do anything.
Rough series for Talon. This is a really rough way. It was a good group stage for them. They still end up second within their group, but to end on a loss like that, that's gotta feel really bad. Going into playoffs and ending on a loss.
I think if it were any other team, it's maybe a little bit better. Liquid has been their bane the entire year as well, right?
Yeah.
And so you're hitting the same brick wall that you've hit before, and that can be very frustrating. However, I do think Talon have looked quite good in this group stage overall. I think they should be confident going into the playoffs. They've had a lot of stuff working for them. I think this series, again, it's just their #1 nemesis in Liquid. It throws you off, it puts you in a weird position. They did not look their best. There were still some glimmers of hope and, you know, some glimmers of what we know the potential of this team is in those late game fights. This game was just more of a shutout, and it goes back to like this opening exchange between the Snapfire and the TA. We saw game 1, they stole the Snapfire away. This Snapfire pick is causing teams problems. Liquid are abusing the hell out of it. Not only did they beat yours, they beat you with it in an opportunity for you to show that you have an answer to this hero. So that's also a factor as we go into this playoffs. What are teams' confidence versus some of the picks that Liquid have built up? That's part of what makes this team strong. They figure out what works for them as the tournament goes deeper and deeper. And man, are they proposing some strong threats.
Yeah, Team Liquid getting a very important win for momentum as they head into the playoffs, and we're going to be able to get a little bit more insight into the importance of that win with Tsunami and Boxy on stage.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm here with Boxy, who is on a hot streak right now. With this win, you are now 6-0 since a kind of rocky middle of the group stage. This has been a dramatic shift. I asked Insania about it yesterday, but I wanted your perspective. How did you guys turn around from day 1 and 2 of group stage to a undefeated streak afterwards?
I think in the group stage, we both played pretty bad and maybe picked heroes and drafted in a way we weren't like fully comfortable with. And now I feel like we figured it out better. Once we realized, like, oh, you know, shit, we might lose, we might get knocked out. You know, everyone gets like how do you say it, a fire in their back to do better and work harder and to figure out what's going wrong. And I think we kind of did, maybe not perfectly so far, but it's been a lot better since we had like a big team talk of, oh God, what's going to happen.
معنا باكسي من فريق ليكويد اعزائنا المشاهدين كان قاعد يتكلم عن وش اللي صار في الجروب ستيج الفتره اللي راحت 3 ايام الماضيه كل ال3 مباريات خلصوها 2-0 الان هم 6-0 مجموع مبارياتهم كنتائج الاخيره لكن في بدايه الجروب ستيج ادائهم ما كان كويس فصار في شيفت في الاداء مره كبير وش كان السبب سالنا السؤال هذا الانسانيه لكن كنا بنسال باكسي ايضا عن نفس الموضوع الجواب كان باختصار شديد انه عرفنا احنا انه المشاكل اللي موجوده عندنا وش كانت فتوقعنا انه الكل كان مركز علينا الكل كان يحاول انه بس يسوي استراتيجيات خاصه فينا عشان نقدر انه نفوز علينا لكن عرفنا الشيء هذا غيرنا كل شيء اشتغلنا على الموضوع بالاخير قدرنا نفوز كل الايام الاخيره.
You have been moving around a lot over the world, over this DBC circuit. You've played in South America, you've played here in Middle East, you've played Europe and Southeast Asia for Bali. Do you have a preference for which pubs you enjoy out of all these regions?
So here, as far as I know, we're just playing European pubs with 90 ping. So I'm sorry to say that this is not my favorite region to play pubs in because I'm lagging. But otherwise, it's all good, you know. I think Southeast Asia probably don't like as much. I think South America was kind of fun. Some people have different opinions. I mean, Southeast Asia is nice, but you know, everyone is kind of crazy there. And I feel like the quality of games were a bit lower maybe than, I didn't get any pro players in any of my games. I was just playing like in the Southeast Asian, I don't know, hell or something. But every country so far has been nice, you know, and it's nice to see different regions and climates and mostly different hotels, I guess, as well. Yeah.
زي ما شفنا اعزائي المشاهدين سالنا بوكسي السؤال الثاني عن طبعا هم زي ما احنا عارفين لعبوا في الدي بي سي في انحاء العالم كلها، لكن في كل ريجن طبعا قبل ما يلعب مبارياته لازم يلعب شويه بوبز عشان يقدر يحمل مبارياته، فكان السؤال وش الريجن اللي كنت تفضله من ناحيه البوبز اللي لعبتها؟ قالوا انه صراحه كل ريجن يعني في شيء مختلف، خصوصا انه مثلا هنا بما اننا احنا في السعوديه البينج عندنا بيكون جدا عالي اذا لعبنا البوبز في السيرفر الاوروبي، لكن وقت ما كنا نلعب في الساوث ايست ايجا كان شويه الوضع مجنون، يعني عندنا او الناس اللي كان العب ضدهم كلهم ولا واحد منهم كان يسوي الشيء اللي احنا متوقعينه منه، ما كان في برو بلايرز يطلعون عنده بالكيو ابدا، وكل اللي كانوا متواجدين معه في الجيم يعني يسوون اشياء كانت غريبه مره، والكواليتي حق الجيم شوي نازله.
You've spent a lot of time in different hotels, but how about different gyms? Your team seems to be kind of gym rats. How did you convince Will to leave you alone and not force you to go to the gym?
So the thing is, a few years ago when William first joined Liquid, he was like, I'm gonna get these guys to gym and we're gonna work out and everyone's gonna be healthy. And you know, like after a few years of him like trying to get us to go gym, you know, after a while like he's gonna stop asking. But for me personally, I'd still try and stay a little bit active, but I've had some problems like with my stomach and stuff, so I can't do much like heavy lifting and exercise, so I put all the blame on that. And you know, staying healthy and exercising, it's good for your Dota gameplay, so there's no excuse, but I think gym is not my current way of doing it.
سألنا بوكسي عن وش كان يصير معهم في الفريق، لأن كلنا نعرف ان تيم ليكويد اغلبهم يروحون النادي، اغلبهم يعني في صحتهم جدا يعني كويسه ما شاء الله تبارك الله، فكان السؤال انه يعني كيف قدروا انهم يسوون كذا، خصوصا ويليام كيف قدر يقنعهم كلهم انهم يسوون الشيء اللي اغلب البرو بلايرز ما يسوونه صراحه. قال انه احنا جلسنا سنين طويله احنا معه ودائما يقولون انه كل مره انا بخلي كل اللاعبين يروحون الجيم، بيحاولوا انهم يخلون يتمرنون قد ما يقدرون، لكن صراحه انا عن نفسي يعني ما اروح النادي كثير، كله بسبب انه انا ما ابغى انه يعني الشيء هذا يضرني بحكم ان انا عندي مشاكل في المعده، والشيء هذا تمنعني اني اتمرن كثير وارفع اوزان ثقيله، لكن دائما احاول اني اكون اكتف واحاول اني اشتغل على نفسي قد ما اقدر اني اكون صحي، لان الشيء هذا ينفعني في الجيم بلاي حقي في توتا.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're keeping yourself healthy, Boxy. Obviously, this has been an intense year, and some other players, as seen over the course of the year, have also taken more introspection of that. So congratulations on the streak of victories. Looking forward to seeing how your team does on the main stage.
This is the main stage.
Playoffs.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm excited. Woo. With one more week, and then I'm done. So I'm just firing all cylinders, you know.
يعطيكم العافيه اعزائي المشاهدين، سمعتوا من بوكسي وش اللي ممكن يقدمونه في المباريات، كيف قدروا انهم يقلبون النتائج لصالحهم، وكيف قدروا انهم الان يضمنون مكانهم في البلاي اوفز، لكن خلونا نشوف وش ممكن يقدمونه معنا في البلاي اوفز، لانه الان من الان وصاعدا الوضع بيكون جدا صعب، فبالتوفيق لهم ان شاء الله. خلينا نشوف وش يقدمون.
That's it for us. Back to the studio.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much to Boxy, to Fancy, and of course to Nami on the main stage. Group stage or not, that is the main stage. Boxy is 100% correct, but tomorrow the playoffs will begin. Looking forward to that. But first, how did Team Liquid get to this point? With this victory, with this 2-0, they are guaranteed top 2 in their group, which leaves them with the potential honor of facing Game of Gladiators in the playoffs, but we'll see how that turns out. First, this game though, it was... Well, speaking of firing on all cylinders, Fear, this was Team Liquid getting a very early start.
Oh yeah, most definitely, and I was most surprised about what happened in the mid lane. We saw the TA pick come out to address the Snapfire, but it just didn't do that this game. Poor Makoto normally does really well versus Nisha, normally does well most all the time in the mid lane, but unfortunately Nisha putting that early point into the little shredder, destroying the refraction charges, gave him that small advantage that Talon probably weren't expecting there, and it really just forced Makoto into not really having a game whatsoever, as we talked about in the pre-game. Like, Makoto has to pop off because they've got 3 greedy cores here, and Nisha single-handedly just shut him down.
Yeah, that kind of was the whole plan for Talon. We said they had a fairly greedy lineup, and you can't really buy space for that greed with other greed, Lacoste.
You can buy Midases, that's how you go even more greedy. They had two, like Templar Assassin with the Hand of Midas, not the item you usually see. A little surprised that, you know, Team Liquid didn't manage to even win this game early on, but their high ground defense is really good. You know, you have Rubik, you have Medusa, Elder Titan, we've seen a lot of these stomps, but they were always playing from behind, a bit of a rough game from Talon. It was a greedy draft to start with, Doom, Medusa, Templar Assassin, and it was a lot on Mikoto to do stuff, and if you're a playmaker who decides to go for Midas, and if that hero is not Invoker, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, first we have Mickey 0 deaths in the second game. There were a couple maybe blink-aways coming out for Chronospheres, but overall Mickey had a great game.
He died with Aegis once.
That doesn't count. He didn't die.
On paper.
As in, that's not dying.
That's true.
Not on the scoreboard.
Considering he's against a Doom, I think that's pretty excellent. There was like one time early game he almost got doomed. He was able to time walk away. So yeah, he avoided a lot of trouble and consistently got kills out of his Chronosphere. Didn't even have to go for a Diffusal Blade. It was like, I'm just going to have so much damage and be so far ahead that everything's fine. He went a Mask of Madness build, which isn't really the most typical on Void. Sometimes you see Midases, sometimes Mask of Madnesses. So yeah, just really well played by Liquid. Even Crystal Maiden got farmed. When he got that blink BKB, he was like, all right, I don't get this often, I gotta use me. He jumps in and wastes it.
You made it look good.
Kind of.
Exciting times for support players all around the world when Crystal Maiden gets made to look good.
For sure. I just want to touch upon more on that, because Crystal Maiden, like when we saw it in the draft, something that I didn't think about is like it destroys refraction charges immediately, since like changes 1.5, 2 years ago. It's very good. Also disarm against 2 range physical cores like Templar Assassin and Medusa. Plus also it's very easy to itemize against these heroes, because there were 2 Heaven Halberds, you buy AC, you get Solar Crest on one of your supports, so buying 1 item you get like double the benefit from it.
That worked like a charm. And we also have, of course, our STC play to analyze. And I believe, Lacoste, you were the main driving force who selected this one. I believe you were.
Okay, I was indeed. Yeah, this is the big play coming out from Ollie's Elder Titan, because he managed to stop the Snapfire's Mortimer's Kisses from going off, and also able to get the 4-man War Stomp. I think it's going to come out pretty soon. So look at his positioning, very far away, using that Spirit, but not committing. So he's waiting for Snapfire Kisses to go off and immediately cancels it. They still lose 1 hero there, but it's gonna set up for a 4-man stomp into 4-man ulti Earth Splitter, which puts them back into the game. Like this game it always felt like Team Liquid, they're staying 1 step ahead, but a potential comeback.
Yeah, we had a couple of potential comebacks at some point also at the top of the game, at the top of the map, but you know, that is because it's late game and they're a greedy lineup, so you're supposed to do good late game. I want to have the final word, Fear. You said it wasn't too bad for Jabs to sell his pipe.
Yeah.
I heard you say that.
Well, I think it's completely fine in a situation like this. They're gearing him for the ultra late game.
Yep.
They know they need to go to the ultra late game. Medusa's not a hero that uses the pipe very well, because you don't get the resistance from Mana Shield, and he wanted to get the best Doom off possible. So I think getting a situation where you buy the Shadow Blade and you get the other items like Aeon just to keep you alive, he was just going for the big plays. You know, I don't think this pipe changed the game whatsoever by selling it.
Well, I will say there was one person in particular that did a lot of magic damage and did even more magic damage once pipe was sold, of course. And I'm talking about our Quidia MVP. It's Nisha on his Snapfire. He had a fantastic game and he had a lot of impact. Of course, we already mentioned that he shut down Mikoto at the start of the game, but overall, right place, right time, and without a pipe purge, his Kisses reigned supreme, especially in that final fight where he was able to kill Medusa with the Kisses fairly convincingly.
Yeah, it's kind of like the perfect hero for him, because he plays it so expertly. He makes very few mistakes. He always finds his opportunities to do damage or to harass, and then it transitions so well for the amazing player that he is. Like you saw him in the last Roche fight in the northwest corner, where he just little shredders and everyone's just dying. They have to run away from him, and that's on a pretty low cooldown. So yeah, definitely very scary when you have to play up against that hero.
A little surprised that they did allow him to get the hands on Snapfire, considering that yesterday Team Liquid played against Team Secret and they dismantled them, especially the first game. Nisha, he was all over the place, just fits the playstyle, and he's so good at it. Just using abilities, and I think this hero has to go if you're playing against Liquid. But there's also another hero, like an 8 out of 8. They didn't lose a single time they picked this hero.
Yeah, this might be doing Mikoto a little dirty, but kind of showing how good Nisha is. Mikoto did 0 building damage this game. He didn't even hit the enemy mid tower 1 time. That's how owned he got.
I can show you guys why if you want.
I'd love to.
I would love to hear why once we are done highlighting Nisha. I want to make one final point because we know he's great with Snapfire, and we know also Lycan, top tier pick for Liquid with 100% win rate. But it always baffles me that a team can do that in their opening 2 picks, where the enemy team has got like at least 4 picks, 3 to 4 picks to prepare for it, and they were not prepared this time around. And it's, I don't know, it's just speaking to Team Liquid's expertise on those 2 heroes in particular, but Purge, you were saying.
Yeah, Makoto got wrecked in the mid lane, and I have the clips why. It wasn't just Nisha, it was just like 95%
This
Nisha.
man brought the receipts,
So
let's see it.
I have this problem sometimes as a support where I'm like, I'm going to my lane, there's nothing else to do. Makoto's like, I'm going to deny this ward for the good of my team. And look at the harassment he got in the first, like, before the lane started. He's down to half HP. That's a big detriment because he's already popping tangos and knows that he's going to go to the lane at a little bit low HP. So watch how Nisha plays this as a result. He comes to lane at low HP, so Nisha's going to put more pressure into him, constantly attacking him, constantly zoning him a bit away from the creeps, and as a result, Nisha's able to leverage his large base damage to secure more harassment against Makoto. And because of this, that means you get more denies now. He gets to walk forward, guaranteeing the range creep while harassing Makoto, while denying a creep. He's starting to pick up a level advantage, which means he hits 2 before Makoto's even 2. So now he gets to use Cookie as well to go forward and do damage. Makoto's now eaten 2 of his Ironwood branches, so he's got less damage and less regen, and Nisha as a ranged hero gets to continuously harass this. He even goes for another blast here, but yeah, Refraction comes up in time to block some of that damage. So once again, Nisha just aims for opportunities here. That one gets blocked by Refraction, which is great, but then he comes up and he blasts him again. And in a more even lane, this harassment opportunity isn't quite as oppressive because your opponent's able to offset it with regen, but because of that extra damage that he took at the start of the laning stage, this really just opened this big window for Nisha to exploit, and that's why Makoto's on the back end consistently here. He's only sitting at, he's got 0 denies and Nisha has 12, so that's the level advantage. There's obviously this little fight here where Nisha ends up dying, but Makoto dies as well, so that's still pretty solid for him with Makoto going down to the tower shots. And the second he respawns, he TPs him to watch how fast this was. He's like, man, sucks I died there. That was pretty much a bummer. And then Nisha's like, all right, it's not over yet. Just instantly kills him. It was crazy.
And there was a big wave coming in as well. The pain. The pain.
And then Zai blocked all his camps with the wolves consistently, so it was like he couldn't even catch up, and that's why he went Midas. He was like, I am so behind.
And then Doom also had Midas, and then you kind of know what type of game you're in, and it's a hard one to salvage, which of course Talon did not manage to salvage. That does mean that we are, for now, done with our Group B games. There's a couple things we still need to go through, though, because we got our Colonel's Choice KFC Play of the Day ready for you. And it actually happens to be a moment in the game we just watched, Fear.
Yeah, this was definitely the game-deciding game here, as we did just buy back on 23 Savage here. They really needed this Roshan so badly, and that's why 23 bought back for this, but unfortunately at this stage of the game, he dies without buyback here. Nearly gets out. I thought for a second, okay, he's gonna get out. He's definitely gonna get out here, and maybe they can reset this and this game's gonna go a bit longer, but no, Liquid chased him down. He died without buyback, and Liquid secured the game there.
They really did. It was the one fight that Talon had their last bit of hope, and they saw it evaporate before the sun. And we have had lives flashes before our eyes in that fight right there, but there has been lives flashing before people's eyes the whole day. And we have our Al Habib save of the day. And this was a fight where you got to pay attention to the Sunder, so pay attention to the Terrorblade. But I say plural Sunder's Purge because there was a Rubik in this game too.
Yeah, this was a really cool clip. Basically, fight to the death for these super farm carries. TA2000 was ahead the whole game, but finally he was in a situation where it's him versus the world. And it looked really good with him almost killing the Terrorblade, but the double Sunder there bought him more time and made it seem like, okay, he was going to get all 3 kills.
Yep, and then in comes the return Thunder with the Rubik. It was, I mean, it was a glorious couple of saves coming out, saves upon saves. That's the one we like to watch. We've seen a lot of fun Rubik plays because of that, and this save of the day was no difference. Of course, that was a series that we watched earlier. That was in Group A, and if you have been paying attention, which I hope you have been, you know how Group A ended. We can take one more look at the standings, and now keep in mind that there is still one series going on right now. Is it actually? No, it's not. No, it's not, because it's 2-0 in favor of Aster, and that means we've got 2 three-way ties, if my memory serves correctly.
That is correct.
That is super hype. Okay, so the 2 three-way ties are, well, similar in a sense. Well, actually, well,
one is happy, one is sad.
One is happy, one is sad. Sure, let's go. Let's go with that one. All right, let's focus first on the Group A standings. You can see there PSG, LGD, 9 Pandas, and EG. They are sitting at 4th, 5th, and 6th, all tied. We need one of those teams to make it to the upper bracket, and the other 2 will be stuck in lower bracket. They all will make it to the playoffs at least. So that will be a 3-way tie. That means best of ones. And we're gonna start at, whoa, in 2 minutes. Get your clocks ready. 2 minutes. And it starts with EG versus 9 Pandas. And it will be done on stream B. So keep that in mind. That is not here. It's on stream B. Then in Group B, we have another 3-way tie. It's not updated here because it must have been a result that literally just came in, because with Aster 2-0ing Shopify Rebellion, there is a sad 3-way tie, Lacoste.
Oh, absolutely, especially for NA region, because Shopify, like one of these teams, they're going to stay, but it's going to be a lower bracket run potentially. They could also both get eliminated. You know, it's a bit of a rough one for the region. Tundra, you know, they didn't look the hottest, especially since they're playing with the stand-in. Sure, they did look good at the Bali Major with AUI, but seems like some things are not clicking. And yeah, I could see Tundra going through this one.
Yeah, well, we still got NA players here. They're all in upper bracket.
Yeah.
Quinn and Sumel still represent opium.
A lot of opium.
Sometimes we just gotta give them sometimes. So it's okay. You can take some credit there. It's all good. It's been good breeding rounds for the successes of the players mentioned. Now those games, I know people are wondering, oh, there's gonna be elimination on the line. People generally tune in more to eliminations than to, you know, deciders on who goes up or lower. But if you want to watch that elimination series, this is again a 3-way tie. So again, best of ones all the way around between all the 3 teams. You have to go to Stream C. Now I don't know the exact start time of that, so you just open the tab and you'll see a countdown, hopefully, and then you'll be kept up to date right there. So Stream C is where you should see those. Now that is all happening today because we need those ties solved before tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the start of our playoff bracket, and tomorrow is also going to be Super Tuesday. I don't know if it's called that, but I'm going to call it that because Super Tuesday is the one day, so I know you guys have been paying attention. So far, every series has been set to start at a set start time. It's called a not before schedule because you don't start before a certain time. Tomorrow is different. Tomorrow is such a super day that we have 4 best of 3s. So potentially we're here for a very, 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 very long time, and that means we are having a follow-by schedule. That means that when one series is done, we'll start the other. Sort of, you know, we'll give teams time to set up on stage. Don't you worry about that. But it also means we start an hour earlier. It's the, I believe, the only day for Riyadh Masters that we start in our time at 11 a.m. And when, of course, we'll be live a little bit before that with the pre-show. So make sure you tune in then for more Dota 2. And tomorrow is fully upper bracket teams. So no eliminations tomorrow. Keep that in mind. Only upper bracket. We're a happy day at Riyadh Masters. And Purge, with that being said, any final words about today?
The tiebreakers are a really big deal. That's 1 more placement for prize pool.
Oh,
so these matches are a big deal.
That's 50K, literally, right? Am I wrong?
I mean, it should be different for each one, right? Because one team is trying to go to lower bracket, the other one's trying to go 1 step deeper into the
I wrote
playoffs.
it down. I wrote this down. Please hold.
Yeah, one's upper and the other one's just lower, right?
That's so much money, guys. Sorry, it's a lot of money. Either you're gonna be home with 100K, or you go home with 200K.
Double.
That's a big difference.
That's yeah, okay, so watch those tiebreaker matches. They are mad as they are crazy. All right, final words for you, Lacoste?
Tune in, watch those tiebreakers, especially for the elimination ones. You know, those are going to be spicy, and those I'm going to be watching as well.
Want to make any spicy predictions, Fear?
For which one?
Oh, elimination.
Elimination.
Yeah.
Both NA teams are going home. Tundra's going to stay. They're going to reclaim, they're going to rekindle a little bit, and then we're going to get a massive Western European showdown yet again.
Even though Tundra's playing with the stand-in?
They're playing NA, they'll be fine.
Wow, I think he's the only one on this panel that can say that. Don't take your pitchforks out just yet. It's fair. You can make those claims. Well, of course, if you want to find out how that's gonna happen, how the tie is gonna play itself out, Stream C, make sure you tune in on time. Stream B starts right now, so I'm gonna send you over there for the Group A tie breaks. Thank you so much for tuning in today here. It's been fantastic, and I'm sure tomorrow is gonna be another great day, especially because it's Super Tuesday. But yeah, come back tomorrow, 11 a.m. sharp, for more Dota 2 here at Riyadh Masters.